I pledge allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll get started. I guess I'm acting chairman for the day. Scott is on Zoom or something. Lance and I are here, Blaine's here, Billy's here. Minutes. Last week.
Minutes. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for August 1st, 2023.
And I seconded public comment.
Jim Bobcat, local resident. Had a question on the minutes. And exactly how
So the minutes
Minutes
from,
are
what
approved.
minutes from where?
well, my questions are on the minutes from July 25th, but. It kind of ties into the minutes. We go through this every week and I'm wondering what the review process is for the minutes.
Yeah, go ahead. What are your comments?
Well, the comment is on the 25th.
So what minutes, what date was it?
7/25.
Okay. Let me see here.
The reason I asked about how you were reviewing this,
So what paragraph are you questioning?
I'm questioning an omission, not something that's in there. When I listened to the tape, because we left early that day. There was a discussion about the 00:58 mark under the dam tenders report. And there was some discussion and decision on 2 lawsuits that were basically being provided an update. But when I went to the minutes to try to see exactly what made it to the minutes, I noticed that there was nothing in there about either one of those. And I was just wondering if that's an abnormality or there's a reason why that was being made.
Can you speak up, please?
I was wondering if it's an abnormality that was excluded from the minutes. Or if there's a reason behind excluding that particular, it's from the 58 to about the minute 4. Or 1 hour and 4 minute mark. There was quite a bit of discussion. Commissioner Abner called in. Some of it was repeated. But when I went to the minutes, there was nothing in there about it. So I'm wondering. You guys approve the minutes every week that the public hasn't seen, so. But you ask for comments, but we really can't comment because we don't know what's in there yet, so. Without diverging back to the draft minute issue, which I understand you guys feel comfortable with. I'm just trying to figure out how you address something like what I found. That's now 2 weeks old. Because if it's an open meeting issue, you only have 30 days to file on something. So I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Did you say it was under the dam report?
It was in the part of the agenda for the dam tenders report. As a matter of fact, on the tape,
So we probably did the dam tenders report, I don't remember, but. And then there was probably just mentioned just for our information, what was going on. So it wasn't under that agenda item.
that's correct. It was not under that agenda.
So it.
Well, I mean,
Okay, let me
I-
see.
in the sequence of the tape, it's following that agenda item before the next agenda item, so there's a lot of time there that's.
Right.
I'm just wondering, should that go into, is it only agenda items that go into the minutes, or is it any discussion or decision that meets the criteria of the minutes and the MCA?
I think I could say that there was an update on those cases, but it didn't even say that. Blank.
So
Didn't say there was an update on cases, it just was blank.
Okay.
So,
Can we just, now your thoughts are, because I kind of missed what you're talking about, you're saying, and this is during the dam tenders report,
or just after it.
that. Between agenda items,
and what was the discussion about?
Got the McCann update in the Buckhead versus Granite County
Oh.
update on
Or
the
McLeod.
decision to bring the witness in for the trial.
well, I'd say it was in between agenda items and Craig Blaine just wanted to fill us in on what's going on.
I think it could say that the county attorney updated the county commissioners on 2 cases.
So what he's saying
McLeod.
wasn't in the minutes.
Yeah, so I think you could amend them to say the county attorney updated the county commission regarding the Backhay case and the Rising Sun.
Okay, so. Let me get this straight, I'm just because it's. Between agenda items, we were discussing. What to do or how to
I just
proceed
updated, I think, on the case.
on the case.
Yeah. I don't know that you made a decision. I think you said that the county could
Was for a.
hire
witness.
or have
Housing
Mr.
witness?
Pierce pay for his way here. And that's just the customary course of the legal action.
So is this? Okay. We did this between agenda items. It wasn't on the agenda. The minutes pertain to agenda items, so would this be something that because it wasn't an agenda item, and you're saying that you watched the recording and listened to the recording and it was mentioned and you feel that it should be in the minutes, even if it wasn't an agenda item?
I listened to the recording and yes, I just have a question as to why it wasn't in minutes. I don't know that it should or shouldn't, I'm not.
Yeah. Right, right.
I pulled up MCA for 2.3, 2.12.2C, and it says the minutes should include the substance of all matters proposed, discussed, or decided. It seemed to fit the criteria, so my question this morning is, was that an omission or was that an intentional? Because there's some rule that says you don't have.
I say it was left out because it wasn't an agenda item, but we gotta move on, so I take a motion that we put it, amend that. As Blaine said. And we gotta move on.
Okay,
But,
so
yeah, I
this is,
think-
this is something that like you're legitimately addressing a situation that was on the recording and not in the actual minutes.
I think there should be a couple sentences.
So how would we throw that into the minutes? And this is on the 25th.
That's correct.
Discussion, throw it in like we have headings for all the agenda items. So Billy needs to know that if there's important things that an update from you on the current.
Yeah. And generally on those, I'll get on the agenda and talk to you, but I needed to get back to him with an answer there. They could say legal update, the county attorney updated the county commission regarding Rising Sun and the Backhay case. The Rising Sun case is being briefed before the Supreme Court, their Rising Sun appeal. In the Backhay case, the county is going to pay for Matt Pierce maps for travel to the Phillipsburg for the trial and pay for his travel expenses.
Okay, so Billy, this discussion. She needs to understand that if there's any discussion on updates and that they need to go into the minutes as. Okay.
You make that motion. Blaine,
Thank you.
Okay, so we need to correct the June 25th.
I just did.
Okay, all right, I'll make that motion.
no
to
second.
accept the minutes.
Any other public comment?
Elena,
Elena,
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
Okay, thank you. Elena Gagliano for the record. I mean, you discussed so many things. I know the time is 9:10, and I mentioned it before. First of all, on the minutes, we don't have a draft of the minutes, which we should have a draft so that we can make any corrections. Looking at what you're correcting, spelling is wrong, grammar is wrong, things are left out. People make mistakes, okay? So if we have a draft, which the public should see, and that's the only reason, if something is left out. Now, if we're up to public comment, I guess you agreed on changing the July 25th minutes. You agreed to the August 1st minutes. Are we on, what are we on now? Correspondence, or were we rushing it? You have an agenda. Go according to the agenda.
yeah,
And
I'm
I've
trying
said-
to do that.
All right, I'll save it for public comment whenever you have public comment. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're in correspondence. First one is from DEQ, not a wastewater discharge. Second one is email from Rick McGill talking about a situation that happened a couple weeks ago on East Fork Road. Pretty long, I'm not gonna read it. Good butter.
Well, and that's on the, well,
so
the
this,
general law update is on agenda for 11.
Right, it's not that, but
Yeah, general.
so this is pretty much a hearsay thing. They're sending a letter to the planner and we got it CC'd to us and saying that there is this happening, and from apparently it's not really happening.
There was a cease and desist letter sent by Linda. They're not gonna create an RV park.
Yeah.
They are gonna do some, sounds like some rentals out there, but if they do an RV park, they'll have to go through subdivision.
And this is public confusion.
Hmm.
Where people thinking that there's an RV going and there isn't.
Well, there's not gonna be an RV park going in there.
Right.
If they do their own mobile home on a pad and have it as their own little rental, that's not an RV park.
okay. Next one is from Don Rees, inviting the key leaders to a CTC orientation meeting. Now we're in public comment. Elena,
Thank you. Lots of public comment. Again, the correspondence, I couldn't follow what you were talking about. It's not in order. If you were talking about the RV park, you do have it at 11 o'clock about the RV parks today. So there's a discussion about that with Linda Block.
correction, it's not
I
about
just wanted to say that.
the RV park at 11.
I'm sorry.
It's not about the RV park at 11, it's about the general laws for subdivisions.
Subdivision and RV parks. Well, it couldn't, the letter could be mentioned at that one. I don't know. Get in touch with the person. I have no clue. There's a way of doing these things. As far as more comment, public comment is for the public as opposed to the government. And so if something is going to be brought up about mitigation, about what's happening, that should be an item on the agenda. So the public is aware that there's a discussion about it, not brought up during public comment. And then I want to remind you that Big Sky Passenger Rail is having their monthly meeting tomorrow at Butte. It's going to be remote. The agenda is up. You can see what they're going to be discussing. And I'm just inviting you all, if you have the time, to drop in and take a look and see how we conduct a public meeting. Your comments will be welcome, and any questions you have will be answered. And I welcome you to come. And then, of course, we're going to have a pint night next Thursday, the 17th. Again, I invited you guys to come to that. It's for Big Sky Passenger Rail, and you can get to meet your constituents and see why they are so enthusiastic about having passenger rail Southern Montana resumed again. So I guess that's about it for my comments, but the agenda is very important. The public has to know what's going on, and you just don't follow it. You don't give the supple time for the matters, and it's not just for your benefit, it's our benefit, the public, and we should be aware of what's happening. Thank you.
Okay, now we have the fire, some of the guys from the fire team for the alcohol fire.
Oh, can I say one thing on that? With the later at 11, we're not going to talk about specific subdivisions because, yeah, the county commission acts as a quasi judicial board on subdivision review. So there's no review in front of you for a subdivision. So we're just going to talk generically about subdivision law.
Okay,
Morning, my name's Dave Stetzinger. I'm the liaison with the Minix Type 3 team. And this is Jeb Bakke. Jeb is our incident commander of our incident management team. And I want to thank you for allowing some time this morning to give you an update on the fire. Our team was mobilized this past Wednesday, and it took about 2 days of travel.
Commissioner's office.
I think it's Scott. He keeps getting kicked off of here and he's trying to call my phone.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you know, it took us 2 days of travel to get here. And then our in briefing was Friday evening. We shadowed the outgoing Northern Rockies team for a day on Saturday. And then we officially took over the fire at 6 o'clock on Sunday. Some of the equipment that we have in, well, first of all, a little bit update on the fire. The fire is currently at 3,559 acres with update of 5% containment this morning. We have 231 personnel on the fire. And some of the resources, we have 6 hand crews, a type 1 helicopter. We have 4 type 6 engines, 3 water tenders, 3 chippers, 2 masticators, and an excavator that's on the fire. Some of the resources are starting to time out. They have a 14-day maximum they can work. And so we're taking that opportunity to make some decisions about right sizing the fire. That'll depend a lot upon what the fire behavior is going to be coming this week. We continue fire line construction and improvement along Forest Road 711. We are constructing fuel breaks along Forest Road 5071, which is in Division Bravo on the east side of the fire. We're maintaining and supplying sprinklers. They have over 10,000 feet of hose strung out to support these sprinklers. That's close to 2 miles of hose that they have put out there on Division Alpha to the west side. You know, we're not doing direct attack because it's just too much of a risk. And we look at the risk versus benefit. And we use sayings that you risk a lot to save a lot. you risk a little to save a little, and you risk nothing to save nothing. I'm not saying there's nothing out there, but there's no structures that are threatened, no other infrastructure, just the timber. And so we are putting in contingencies to help control fire. And but it's just too much of a risk.
Oh, don't give me that. I fought fire for a lot of years. What's the big risk? You get hazard pay?
I don't,
Good people out there want to get
Yes, they
hazard pay? What for?
for the hazards. It's hazardous work. You know, it's steep terrain. We have a lot of snags to deal with. Stump holes, rolling material. And if someone is injured out there on the line, it's just gonna take a tremendous amount of time to get them to the hospital care.
I told you, I fought fire for 36 years. Okay, I know what I'm talking about, and I know this is a bunch. I'll end it there. You know that if it takes off again and that smoke comes over, I've got an allergy to that damn smoke. And a lot of other people do too. And we're damn sick and tired of people doing what you're doing. And then just let the fire go when it dries out and the west wind comes up, southwest wind. And then we get all smoke. You talk about hazard. That's a hazard to us. So what do you say about that?
Well, just the last 2 days, we had 3 firefighters killed, not in this area, but. And you know, we'd hate to have anybody killed on this fire.
Yeah. Accidents do happen, but people die from the smoke. And I know they die from the smoke.
So what I can tell you about that area, and as you probably already know, within the forest, it's a special management area. It's not wilderness, but it is scientific and natural areas, roadless areas.
Well,
So
yeah.
we've been working a lot with the forest to develop plans of action that help to align with their values for that area. And so some of that is limiting what we can do as far as mechanical means in the interior of that. We definitely understand the concerns for smoke, and we are trying to come up with a plan that would allow us to work outside of those special management areas. And then under the right conditions, we would get a little bit more aggressive with our tactics. We definitely understand and hear what you're saying, that it looks like we're being not aggressive enough to put this thing out. But we are definitely trying to meet all needs. And that would be firefighter safety being our first.
Indirect line is just a passive line, it's a passive, I mean. Basically, 90% of the time it doesn't work. Unless you burn out, and then you're gonna make a whole lot more smoke and burn up a whole lot more acreage.
How about with the rain this past weekend, did that put a damper on things, and would that more rain help you fight it direct, or?
Well, we haven't fought it direct, but we're continuing to strengthen the lines. But the rain was very minimal over the fire. We had a lot of rain at their base camp. But not as much on the fire itself. But the lower temperatures and the higher humidity has really stopped any growth. And it's kind of just smoldering and
Yeah, and that's the time to hit it.
So
When
I
it's
think
just
that-
smoldering.
As it comes out of those special wilderness core areas, we are.
So now you're saying you're not gonna ever fight fire in a special wilderness area that's not a wilderness.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we're trying to manage the value at risk. Along with the safety of the public and the firefighters. and
Any public comment?
I do, I have a comment. You're attacking them, Chuck, and they're just doing their job. And
Hey.
it's their policy that they have to follow, and your opinion is understandable, and you have all these years of experience, but you're literally verbally attacking them, and that's wrong.
I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong when I can't breathe. Okay,
It's all about you.
no, it's a lot of people. A
They
lot of
can't do
people.
anything about it, Chuck. They have to follow
You can
policy.
fight a fire direct. especially when it's
So
cool.
are you gonna
What do you
tell
know
them to-
about it?
Absolutely, I'm listening to knowledgeable people and I'm hearing you complain because you have all these years and you're telling them they need to do this and they can't do this because of policy. That's what I'm saying. You need to quit attacking them for no reason. That's my opinion.
Well, thank you for your opinion.
You're welcome.
You know, all fired you been on.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Sorry that you had to put up with that.
Bid opening for the Granite Road project.
We have no bids,
No bids.
no bids.
So I don't think we're gonna get any bids. So do we need to get the road crew up there then?
Okay, we're gonna move on to the weekly road report with Paul All.
I guess that phone call earlier was Paul Alt trying to call in.
It's working now, maybe you can call.
Paul,
Oh. Yeah, it's not. Commissioner's office,
Hey, this is Paul. How are you guys this morning?
good.
so Paul, there was no bids for the Granite Road, so Blanche and I figured we gotta get the road crew up there.
Uh-huh. Nobody bid at all, huh?
Nope,
Okay, well,
I wonder if you
we'll
could,
just, when we get done with Willow Creek, I guess we'll head up there.
well, when would that be?
We'll just have, put it at the theater in, I guess, Chuck. Oh, not next week, but the first part of the following week.
So Paul, can we utilize our graders more because we have our full crew? Can we, because from my understanding, there's 4. And how many are we using?
There is. We're using 2 right now full time, but if we can't pull anybody else off to run a different one, because then we have nobody to run water trucks or Mack trucks. So the whole cruise, everybody's got something to do. And I mean, if they have to work together, we can't do without water.
Wayne?
Paul, I
So
wonder
we've got,
if the county could contract with someone like on an hourly rate on Granite Road, or is no bids mean no one's available?
it just, quite frankly, such a horrible job, nobody wants to do it and that's why there isn't a bid.
Oh,
It's just gonna be a tough job,
okay,
you know, there's no material much to work with and it's just something we're just gonna have to take care of ourselves, evidently. I mean, we try, you know,
yeah.
and then
Okay,
if you, in my opinion, if you tried to do that by the hour, it would be so high priced that, you know, if they wouldn't give a price by the job, then I doubt you're gonna get anybody by the hour either.
good point.
We'll just have to take care of it.
Okay, we'll plan on, the week after next, you'll be up there then,
Yeah,
okay?
that'll be our plan. We'll just make it happen, get it up there and get it done.
Yeah, sounds good, thanks.
Yeah.
So, got on here the maintenance on South Main Street in Drummond. I still wanna put that off until Scott is around. What we wanna do then.
Okay, so if I may make a suggestion, I think we need to look at your budget. Paul, and with you going out and finding what gravel you need. And then looking at that. Main Street thing. Figure out just what we need to do to get that done and when we can get it done. And that would be a project with the budget.
So Paul, do you think we could use millings on that, patch it up again?
You know, we don't have any,
They're all gone.
yeah. You know, I've already had the crews go down and they filled all the potholes already
Okay, I have you on speaker.
on that south main.
Oh, okay.
We did that before the drum rodeo, they spent
Okay.
quite
I
some
have
time
you on
down
speaker.
there anyway, they got them filled in. So, short of rebuilding the road, you know, that's not gonna happen right now, obviously. You know, that would just have to be tore up and new asphalt down, but if we did get milling,
South Main.
like next year, if we got milling, yeah, that'd be a spot,
So
Well,
how do you get millings? Do you
yeah.
buy them?
Just off a state project. You know, I'm not sure what the state's got going on for next year, but they could be doing another stretch, a road in Granite County, and at any time that's in Granite County, we get the first option for the millings and they're donated to us.
Okay, so let's just put this off and talk about it later about what we gotta do to redo it. He's got it patched up for now. So,
So you already have patched it, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I drove on it the other day and I could see where it was patched.
yeah, we
But it
put,
needs
quite a
it,
bit
so
back.
patching it, and then when it's patched, you go over it with millings to cover it. Is that what the procedure is?
Well, yeah, then you can build it up.
build it up.
Paul, did you get told about the 190,000 for that Bergman Slough Bridge? That the town has?
I did,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, I did,
that means,
when is that reverting back to the county,
I think it's ours.
or has it been done already?
yeah, the county's taken over, because by contract, the county agreed to that back in the 70s. We thought there was a secondary agreement for the county for the town to take from the bridge in on South Main, but there, no contract was found, so that would include the roadway and the bridge, and so, but there are that 190,000 is there from the state, and so we probably need to be looking at, would that be engineered?
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
okay,
probably about a next year project.
it
Okay,
would be, yeah.
Oh,
question, does the town of Drummond have those funds, or do they have to apply for them?
They don't have them yet, but they could be, yeah,
They
be
can apply
requested,
for
yeah.
So as far as the bridge fund, are there any bridges that, like, I understand that the Black Pine Bridge, as you first go up Black Pine, is in really super bad scrape, where it needs to be repaired? Is that on your list that we need to look at that and fix it?
Yeah, Black Pine and, Gold Coins in worse shape.
Which one gets
They're-
more
they
travel?
both-
Black Pine, doesn't it?
Black Pine gets more traffic, yeah, but, you know, it was replaced not too many years ago. But, yeah, it definitely needs attention, that's for sure.
So is that something that we need to look at for this year's budget? For the bridge?
No, we'd have to get engineers in there and let them, and try to make a plan, let them take a look. We could have Great West coming and evaluate what we should do.
Okay, is this one of the bridges that Staley Engineering recommended needed to be fixed?
I don't think so.
No,
Okay. So,
Need to have Great West look at Gold Coin and Black Pine, Paul.
yeah, I mean, we have them there for us, I think we should do that, yeah.
I think we should do that soon, from what I understand.
Commissioners one.
So maybe we'll have Billy get in touch with Great West. Chuck,
Okay.
you think, to look at those bridges?
Probably, yeah, task order, get it on the agenda.
All right, hold on.
Okay.
Let me put you on.
All right.
Okay, solid waste, anything on that?
No. We had a gate get wrecked, but we got that repaired.
Hold on one second.
Somebody hooked it and spent it all
Right,
off,
you're
but
on
it's
speaker.
kind of a mystery deal, but anyway, that's fixed and not. Everything's fine out there. I did do some figuring on that road on Georgetown Lake Road. For, if we were to put gravel on that. And it'll be about $130,000 or $40,000 is an estimate.
For
For
lake,
the gravel,
for Lake Shore,
yeah,
For Lake Shore Drive, yeah.
okay. That'd be for the, if we do a rack
yeah.
grant application, 140,000.
So we discussed it last week to apply for RAC funds for that road, and the Forest Service said, what, in early fall?
They would get on the agenda in September and we'd working on it then. They thought potentially in October deadline. They're trying to get the RAC advisory committee filled with members. So that's the first project. And then, so they were gonna get, Sarah Rouse is gonna get back with us on coming in on that.
But that doesn't get applied for, I don't believe, until the first of October.
Yeah, that's what yeah, that's what she said. You're right.
Yeah, we need to have the flag up. and get
Yeah,
going
yeah.
And get funds.
Okay, we're done with roads then. Anything else?
I just have one more quick thing, we have to get our salt coming and. Obviously, we need to buy sand and he's got in Hall, there's 1,500 to 2,000 yards of sand sitting there. And he wants $12 a yard for it. And I would like to have Hans just go out and survey it. And then buy the pile, whatever's there. You guys are okay with that?
One minute.
Divide sand.
Where was that at?
That would be
In Hall?
sand. Make a motion to buy the sand.
Who,
To have,
who's
to have it surveyed and buy it if we can for.
I make a motion that we have Hant survey the sand and purchase it.
the county person?
County
Who,
purchase.
whose sand is it?
Bruno.
Oh, okay,
From
Struna's.
Struna
At $12 and go.
at $12 is that.
My second, any
Yeah.
public comment on that?
I have a public comment, but it's not on there.
Okay. We're ready for public comment then.
Wait, hold on, Paul. We got some public comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't quite done yet.
Okay, sorry.
Are you gonna come for a vote on that first, so? First, public comments on something else.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. We're just a second. Paul isn't finished and then.
I was just gonna say, then for the sand that we need and built for, we'll get it from Tommy. And he gets $10.50 a ton. But he doesn't have it yet, but he's gonna be making it in a while. And we're gonna wind up needing at least 1,000 yards there. But there is no other source. So. I just need to let you know what the deal is, as far as that, is the only other place to get it.
So on these purchases, isn't this regular maintenance where he would just go ahead and get the sand, or does it have to be approved by the commission?
Well,
We usually just get it, but I mean, since it's ahead of time, I just wanna get it so everybody knows what we're doing.
yeah, we talked about gravel bidding that, the
Oh,
large
gravel.
quantities of gravel, but
Okay.
this, be one that, you could go out and get, 3 estimates, but if this is the best price, then around, we waive that.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, we have public comment.
Carol Blockade, resident. What I wanted to speak on is Stewart Lake Road and the pictures we showed you the last time I brought it up. They fixed the little waterfall from the break also, I appreciate you getting them up there and talking to them, but they never touched the holes. And now the one on, there's another one on the left side that is as deep as the one I had showed you earlier. So I was just wondering, because it looks like they did do some road work besides fixing that, but they never went further down. They just to that part that had the major leak at that time. And I was wondering, since you were able to get them out there, is there anything else that Paul could do?
So who fixed it? The city? Did the city fix it, Paul?
Yes,
So now do we need to follow through and have the county go up there and,
Well,
There's no cones or flagging or anything by those holes yet.
any damage.
So that
caused by
big
should be
hole is
there.
still there.
Yes, sir. That one and another one on the left side has opened up. It's not in the road. It's like on right off to the side, you know, how people go around some things. It's right there.
Well, I thought they were supposed to fix that, the city.
That I just wanted to bring it to
Yeah.
your attention that
Sure.
that part had not been done.
we'll look at it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, it should be the town, if it's from what their water line caused.
All right, thank you.
I think
okay, thank you. So,
Commissioner Adler was trying to say something as
so
well.
Paul, you'll go look at it and then tell the town that they didn't finish their job or what?
Yeah,
I think Commissioner Adler was trying to speak to.
Scott, you got something?
I just saying I need to talk to the city and let them do it.
Yeah,
What do you think?
need to talk to the city. Okay, resolution, the Granite County, any public comment, any more public comment? Okay. Resolution 2023-9, Granite County resolution increasing certain county fiscal year.
Oh,
Budget.
So we're still the Bureau of Land
You have
Management.
the BLM here.
George Summit Road. Yeah, to have a report.
Oh. Bureau of Land Management.
Ready for us?
yes. Hi. Good morning.
I am Erin Carey. I'm the field manager in Missoula, the field office. Maria Craig, I think you probably know her pretty well for the years. And Kathy Marks, their road engineer. And roads are her specialty. So we have a few things that we're hoping to chat with you about today, just mainly about road maintenance and how we can work together on some of the road issues that we've been hearing about and seeing, obviously, and I don't know if you guys have been receiving any complaints from the public about those roads up to, you know, First Chance and Cave Gulch and leading up towards Garnet goes down. So Maria, do you want to kind of bring that up and just some of the things that we've been hearing?
Yeah, you know, like, we get like 30,000 visitors up at Garnet, probably a quarter to a third the I-90 way. And I mean, every year we hear it, like, this road's bad, this road's bad. And I think both Cave Gulch and China Grade are kind of deteriorating, so we're just wondering what we can do to make it a safer road, how we can work together, what you guys are thinking about that road, because I think you guys are getting a lot of comments. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is how we can work together. And I don't really know what that process is or what it looks like, so that's why I was coming here, like, before Garnet Day, I think I called Scott and said, you know, I knew probably we weren't gonna get the road maintained before Garnet Day, but it's like, I think we need to do something, and I don't know what that is. It is a county road, so I'm not gonna say, you know, say anything.
Scott, do you have a comment on that? Okay, well, I thought you guys were talking about closing it off and just making it a Jeep trail or something.
That would be your choice. I mean, so that's what I mean, like, I think we need to take a really good look at the roads and it's what you guys ultimately want, because that is your road. We do
Hi.
have Cave Gulch, you know, which we would have to fix out. Yeah.
So I think we're ready to come with some options too and work you know, with the county on that. So, you know, one option is exactly what you just mentioned, Commissioner, in terms of, you know, converting that, you know, status, travel status to a Jeep road, and, you know, the signage that would go along with that to inform the public. You know, and then using Cave Gulch, which would be the, you know, the primary access route up to that area, including Garnet Ghost Town. And we would, you know, look at options to get funding to, you know, do some work up there. But there's probably some other combination of things that can be done too, just, you know, open to what your suggestions and ideas and needs are. Obviously, right now, you know, with the bipartisan infrastructure law, we do have opportunities for funds to do some road work. So that would maybe be something I talk with the county about as well, in terms of, you know, can we partner in a way and go for some of those funds to, you know, to make a more significant investment in that road system.
I think, Paul, are you still on?
I am.
Opinion?
Well, you know, what funds are available if we did partner?
So, one funding opportunities that is most immediately in front of us through bipartisan infrastructure law or bill funds. We have the opportunity to apply. We also have to put a proposal in, and our proposal would have to be approved, be accepted to get the funding. But if we could demonstrate that we were, you know, BLM was going to work in partnership with county. There's different mechanisms. We could enter into an agreement with the counties through more traditional ways, or there's also the neighbor authority, which was, I think we got that authority a few years ago that allowed both BLM and Forest Service to enter into good neighbor agreements with counties. Was added recently, and that allows federal government to pass funds to the county to do work on and off BLM grounds, but that is a benefit to, you know, the larger, you know, resource. So that would be, that's just you know, those are a couple of different mechanisms, but what we would do is work together to sort of formulate a proposal, put that into our headquarters and go for that funding source. With the infrastructure law, it is kind of a once in a generation opportunity that we have to go for larger amounts of money for projects like that. We're working in collaboration with counties.
Paul, is that feasible to fix up that road?
I think the Kidwell Road would be the one to fix,
The which road?
the Kidwell Road. Would,
It's a kind of a parallel route. So there's essentially, yeah, there's two routes. There's China Grade, which is the county road, and then there's.
I haven't been, there's a better. I've been down that road for quite some time. Just I don't even know what shape it's in.
Yeah,
Well, I think they're both county roads. My understanding. Good.
yeah, and I think that's what we're hoping to, because I think we're thinking it's maybe a public road, maybe not a county road, Cave Gulch, but I don't know. So that's also what we'd like to work with you guys on, is trying to figure out whose road jurisdiction it is and what we can work together. And what's the better route to do with the other routes. Yeah, how do we move forward with that?
It keeps doing, I don't know if my phone is screwed up or what, it keeps kicking me out.
I don't know, but I have you on speaker, so.
Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, I guess I can only hear part of it, and it's like I can be on for 3 to 5 minutes and it kicks me out all the time. I just wanted everybody to know I am trying to be on there. You only hear part of it.
So any comments on the Garnett Road?
So
I just think that, you know, there's no way we're gonna be able to manage it. That if they wanted to go with being just a Jeep trail and put a sign down that, you know, at the bottom, because there's no way, there's so much, it's just been abused for years and we'll never, ever have, you know, unless we go around through Cave Gulch and work with them on that blade a little bit, but I don't know.
did you hear them say there's potentially infrastructure funds, Scott, you could apply for?
Well, there might be, but there has any, I mean, till you look at it, you'll understand what I mean. I don't think, wow, there's no way that we can keep up with the maintenance.
Excuse me,
For cable, yeah.
I think he's thinking that you're talking about Fair Gulch.
Right.
He needs to understand you're talking Cave Gulch to be cooperative agreement.
Oh, for the funding.
Do you hear that,
I
Scott?
get-
The,
No, see, it just cutting in and out. I don't know what the heck is going on.
They're talking about
Sorry, I
funding,
thought I was gonna be able to be there today and that something happened.
they're talking about funding for cave goals.
Yeah, we worked with them before on that when they logged up their Eagle Stud and that, we fixed it up. This guy could go that way and try to do some stuff, but the other side we just need to put as a G trail and leave it
So,
alone.
If I may, the thing that they're offering, Scott, is there's possibly infrastructure funds. And this is a one-time deal where we need to possibly jump into that and try to get these funds if we can fix that road. And then
Yeah,
they're
'cause
talking about good neighbor and a partnership with the BLM to get that road fixed.
But I think we're talking about Cave Gulch Road, fixing Cave Gulch Road.
Well,
Or,
I just think they,
there's multiple
Go ahead.
options, the overall look at
yeah,
how the public is accessing our Garnet Ghost Town.
So we need to do
via
more search on
Those routes,
yeah.
both routes have portions of public or county or undeterminedness. Yeah, I think it's an invitation just for more conversation, right, is.
Yeah.
Well, one is getting a good understanding of what the road status is it public, is it county? And what is your sort of vision, you know, in the future, you know, maintenance or some of the constraints that you might have in maintenance of some of those roads that are county roads, like Commissioner Adler was just saying. And then, do we want to work together on a proposal for fixing up Cave Gulch, if that is, you know, what it's decided to be, sort of the primary access, if you will, up to that area? And then any other decisions that would be in your jurisdiction in terms of what you'd like to do with trying to grade and, you know. some of the other roads that are county.
it's good to talk like that and think that way, but once we, you know, I mean, you look at the other side and all the money you guys have put into the other side. I don't you know, it puts us, as then we take over and start doing it, we don't have the manpower to do it, whether we have the infrastructure funds or whatever. We are shorthanded, everybody knows that, I just can't see it trying to do it, and then all of a sudden we take that money and then we're obligated to doing it all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good comment, a good point, and that would just be something to think, to talk about and just be realistic about too, is county capacity. With the infrastructure funds that we're talking about, it is a sort of a one-time, you know, fund source, and there are, you know, through Good Neighbor Authority or another mechanism, opportunity for the county to contract out that work, and it would be a one-time thing, not long-term maintenance. But I think we need to figure out ownership of that road too, because I think Cave Gulch is our understanding that is mostly BLM road.
Well, that's what I was under the impression of, that it was BLM, and then I was talking to our lands person, and she thought it was maybe public road, and I think there's segments of both, and that's what we need to figure out together.
Parts of it are BLM, part of our county, because when they logged in that up there, it was a BLM sale.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there's a lot to look into. I just don't want to be taking that and then all of a sudden you take that and then you're stuck to taking care of it. There's just no way.
but that's not what, yeah, I don't think you what they're proposing. Yeah,
It wouldn't be taken care of it every year, it would be just like what we do with the Forest Service. It'd be just a one-time deal, you partnership up, the funds are X amount. And you work on the road the one time, it's not ongoing.
But if it's not our road, we shouldn't be doing it.
Well, if we
Well,
can get the.
we'll do
loans
some more
Funneling.
research.
Yeah.
My thinking was that both were county roads, but we'll look into that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
definitely a place to
Yeah.
start, and And then, just to, like I said, there's no guarantees of the funding, but it doesn't hurt to ask and put in a proposal. And there might be something that benefits both the county and the BLM up there. And then, to Commissioner Aller's point, funding does come with, with work and, there is a lift on the county side to administer a contract and, put the agreement together, administer the contract. So just, making sure that all of that is transparent and is something that you feel like you could take on at this point, those would be things to talk about.
Another thing is, be closing down the county road, if that is just BLM, it's closing the county road and funneling everybody through the BLM. Is another thing to think about there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we could support them to get that money, even if it is their road. They can fix it up then, and
Right, and there's things too that, that, we could look at some of that funding for signage and, helping to improve the flow of traffic off of. I always get the roads mixed up, China Grade, and on to what is the better access route. So there's, and then whatever, if you guys are gonna sort of move towards a Jeep road. What, if there's appropriate work or signage that needs to be done around that, then that's what we could do some money for as well. Is there anything to
okay, so.
Do a little more research here and get it back on their agenda, that'd be good.
Yeah, maybe I would just propose that if there's interest, from the county, that there's a follow-up meeting and we sort of share information about status and next steps.
Yeah.
Kind of vision too, I think, like sort of. Yeah.
Well, we get a motion just to support them anyway. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
For
Yes,
that money.
absolutely.
there. Oh my God.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll
To
second it.
support. So how are we doing this?
Partner for
Partner
effort to
for-
apply for
To
infrastructure funds
apply for
for cable.
infrastructure grant. To look into getting this road passable.
Improved.
Improve it as the primary access
Yeah.
route to Garnet. And the county road, first chance / China Grade, potential travel management change or closure.
You can note that it's not an agreement to continued maintenance, it's for a one-time,
Right. Yeah, it's to
Improvement.
fix it.
yeah.
Get that, Billy?
Any comments, Scott?
He fell off.
Yeah, I'm Rob Nyland. I'm a property owner on the China Grade portion of the road up there. And I've been in the area for about 36 years up there. And I've always tried to get that portion of the road, taken away from the county because it doesn't meet the guidelines. But I've always come up against the wall. And I'm all in favor of improving the Cave Gulch Road. I was involved with the BLM on the parking lot, and I've been very supportive of the BLM all along. But what I would like to see happen for myself, I own up to China Grade and then up Kern Street. And I don't care if the county comes through there and blades that road, but I'd like to see them come through every couple of years and maybe just brush it. Just bring your brush trimmer in and brush the lower portion below China Grade. And that would be all I would add.
You hear that, Paul?
Yeah, and I don't see a problem with that.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
So I second your
Oh,
motion.
another question. So if it turns into a Jeep road, would it be from the parking lot up, or would you start it at China Grade, which really was all my research? China Grade never was county road. So I would like to see that portion of the road from the parking lot, be maintained up to the Cave Gulch Road. Because that's where the majority of the traffic is gonna be coming from, the parking lot of Cave Gulch. And really nothing done with Bear Gulch except for brushing it out, unless, you know, needs a culvert replaced or something on the lower section.
You hear that, Paul?
Yeah, you get, the Jeep trail would start after the turn going going up Cave Gulch.
Yes,
Otherwise, you'd have people up still trying to go the other way, so the signs have to be right there.
exactly. And, you know, and it doesn't brush in until you
That's
get
what
up
they're
there
saying.
above that intersection, so people wouldn't realize it's gonna be brushed out. I'd like to see maybe just a 10-foot lane brushed out through there, not making 18 feet for, you know, county width, but just wide enough that I can get my vehicle through there without scratching them up and everything.
Well, if we go in and brush it out, we'll just brush it out like we're gonna do it. And
Okay,
I'm not gonna say that we're gonna go do exactly 10 feet, or we'll widen it out if we're gonna do it.
okay, yeah, that'd be fine. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
So I have a question.
bet.
Yeah.
On time frame, not for you, sorry for
Oh.
that. On the time frame for applying for an infrastructure grant, is it gonna have to be like? We have to get on it very soon.
So if we want to work together on that proposal and the BLM, we can do a lot of the heavy lifting on that proposal, is just coordinating with you guys. That's basically by September.
Okay, so like right now, and you guys said
Yeah,
you do the heavy
basically.
lifting, is that what you said?
So and just to be clear, what we would be working on right now is putting together a pretty basic proposal. There's a database we enter it in and some GIS layers and stuff, but you know, we put that into our headquarters. And we're making a go at some of the infrastructure funding for this particular partnership and project. Then if we get the money, then we work together on a good neighbor authority or whatever the other agreement mechanism would be for passing the funds to the county. And that's gonna be probably more work from the county
Right.
to pull that together, but we can do that over the fall, winter.
Okay, so
I think your generic motion is sufficient, that the partner to go after all potential federal funds that are available to a one-time improvement.
If I
Yeah.
could too, sorry to interrupt you, you know, and it's. We're talking about the proposal and there's some urgency around that. But broadly speaking is just getting on the same page
Right.
about status and what is the long-term vision
yes,
for those roads, and maybe we can start to identify a good path forward. If we just happen to have this funding, you know, that we
Yes.
could go
Yeah.
for right now too.
Okay, any other public comment?
Gloria Walling, we have actually a cabin in Garden Ghost Town, and I guess I have a little concern about if you change the China grade to Jeep Trail, what does that mean? Do you maintain that at some point? Because if that's an evacuation route and kind of with the fires that have been happening in this area, it'd be nice to at least be able to get down that road if we need to in an emergency.
What I'm understanding they're saying is more notice to the public that this is a rough road, because you
Yeah.
got tourists going up there and saying, oh, I can go up this road, and then it's
It's
horrible conditions, so
It's really.
I see it more of a notice issue to the tourists, but maybe you had some of the thoughts there.
I don't have thoughts about that. I think it would be, you know, what does designation as a Jeep route mean for county maintenance, probably.
Yeah.
Can I interject? Rob Nyland again. And the only issue I see with that is if you don't have really some pretty significant signage, the road's gonna continue to be used by Jeepers and everything, and it's just gonna get worse. And as soon as it gets worse, then the spring runoff, it channels right down through that steep grade. So it needs to be very clear, you know, like four-wheel drive recommended is probably not adequate. You know, you might need to have high clearance four-wheel drive under ideal conditions, because they're just gonna tear that road up more. And then the issue with these people coming down from Garnett is gonna make it worse. Because coming down is always easier, and maybe that could be something on the side, on the signs, is that downhill. Might be okay. Going up, but I don't want it to be a one-way road, because I want to have access through my property. That's what it's-
One of the issues, people vandalizing signs and taking them down. So I think also the thought was having it on maps, correct, that it's, so.
That's another.
The
very good-
notice.
Very
yeah, notice.
We run into people all the time that don't read the signs, that are using GPS. And they get themselves in trouble with conduct cords and everything, and they're tearing
Yeah,
it
that's
apart.
the issue.
So is this, what he's talking about, is it the same area that we want to get a loan fix?
No.
No,
No,
Different
it's
road.
completely
Talking
different.
about the left side trying to grade,
The very steep side.
yeah.
Kind of redundant access roads up to the same area. Is that a good way to describe that? Yeah.
Okay, so we need to make a motion that, a generic motion that we want to go forward looking into infrastructure. grants
Another federal
for-
funding with the
to fix
BLM.
roads with Partnership with BLM.
And overall status.
We already did that.
And yeah, regarding cave goals, correct? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I seconded. So. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You on, Scott?
No, we lost him.
Okay. We're with you.
All right,
Okay,
well, we'll follow up.
Yeah.
Would it be best to follow up with Paul and kind of
I
coordinate?
think probably. Paul, what do you think? Should we,
That'd be fine.
okay. You have his information?
Okay.
Okay, all right.
And we
If
can,
we could get information from them, you give to me too, that'd be good.
Billy, we
It's in-
we can send some if you want.
Okay.
Okay,
Is there anything else you'd like to hear from the BLM while we're here? Any updates? Unless, like,
we're gonna move on.
When do you close that up there
When do we close
for the
Garnet?
winter?
Oh, well, we never really close it. We closed the Highway 200 side for motorized vehicles, January 1st. So people still snowmobile, but people can go up there year round,
Okay,
so.
that's all I got.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Did we want to, we were also wondering about just county road maintenance agreements too, and starting the process of working with you guys, because we've got the Clark Fork base and we have 2 roads, Mulkey and Rattler, that we wanted to do some maintenance on or work together on maintenance. We didn't know how to go about starting or even explaining what our ideas were. So we didn't know if this was the proper place or not.
Well, that's another agenda item, but
Okay.
yeah, get a hold of Paul and talk to him about that.
Okay.
And then you can get.
You Get on the agenda again on. it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
Okay, now we're in Georgetown Lake in placement of speed bumps.
Paul, did you manage to go check those speed bumps at all?
Yeah, I went and looked at them on Sunday and, the 2 of them are right, they're probably 15 feet from where our sign is, says warning speed bumps, they're both in the road. There's no issues with them at all. And the other one on the top is on the same spot. It's, beyond our speed bump warning sign. And we need to bolt another one down. It's really tough to keep them bolted down because we're dealing with 2 inches of pavement and they're designed to be bolted down into 8 inches of pavement, rather than just a shell like that we have there.
So
So
were
that's kind of what the deal is.
you don't think they were vandalized, anything like came up or?
Looks to me like they came up. And, there's one sitting on the edge of the road, but I don't believe they were vandalized. I just think it's just the traffic. There's not enough asphalt to hold them down properly like they're designed to be held down.
So what should we
You
do?
know, the,
Only thing we can do is just put it back in, put a few more bolts down and. They'll last till they, but get vibrated off again, there's not much you can do.
the only thing
You
I'd say,
can't put-
it's probably a liability if they keep vibrating off though.
And Vlad is.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how else you'd hold it down, they're designed only one way.
We have some public comment here. We'll take that.
He's actually here for the speed bumps on Georgetown Lake Road. This is a different area of the lake where they're requesting to have speed bumps placed.
Well, that's the one we're doing.
Thanks.
I think you can, yeah, talk about all of it, it's that general.
Yeah.
So you can come on up and talk. With Georgetown Lake Road.
Yeah, hi, thanks, Commissioners. I'm Vladimir Babich. We met several times there last year. Do appreciate the speed bumps that we did see on Lake Shore. Like Paul was saying, I think they're obviously slowing people down, but they are, they are kind of a hazard with the, I came by Saturday or Sunday too with the nails sticking out, but we're more concerned from pretty much, the Dude Ranch, Edwards to your county line. I think I talked to Billy a couple of times. I thought we had petitions sent in to you last year. I don't know if they didn't make it or whatever. But I know Chuck Stokey and myself, we have several different ones. We can re-get them if you need them. But there's like 100. This is where we were last year. We didn't do a recount as far as the number of houses, and we know that number's obviously gone up since last year. But there's 136 houses in that area. We're probably the highest density area right on the lake with docks, and there's 73 docks right there. And initially you guys had the trailer out just before Memorial Day, kind of parked right at your county line. That seemed to help quite a bit. And then it's kind of gone away. I think I've seen the patrol up maybe once over the 4th, but that the really high area where the curve is by Stokey's and then by Bino to Hood's house where there's the 14, 15 docks right there. Somebody's gonna get picked off because they just start flying. And I didn't know if you guys were looking at the lakeshore stuff first before you came over to our side, 2 separate deals, or where we're at.
Paul?
Well, these are just temporary ones that we're putting in, we're taking them out the first of the month.
Oh, no, I totally understand that, but when we addressed this last year, it was kind of all in one. I know they were there and there was some issues with the Forest Service over on their side where we're all, if I correct me, Paul, if I'm wrong, but I thought it was all county, we have nothing to do with the Forest Service. Ours is either county where we're at, so it had nothing to do with the Forest Service part.
So are the speed bumps on the Forest Service?
Yes. Yes, down the 4th.
They're on the Forest Service part.
But the county,
Maybe on the county part?
The county maintains that.
Yeah.
I told you that.
yeah, the county maintains.
Well,
it, yeah.
Okay, so what are you saying? We need more speed
Well,
bumps?
what I'm saying, yeah, we last year, we wanted speed bumps, and additional signage. Ms. McClure, just from the standpoint of, the traffic there with the higher density right now there, I don't know what they call that, the new Depps Point area, there's 4 or 5 new houses since last year. But, we got the highest density probably around the lake, and your liability is probably higher there than anywhere else.
Probably what we need to do is buy a couple more of them trailers to start, which wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah,
They're expensive, but the way the community's growing, we should have some to move around that are actually owned by the road department.
That's probably a good idea, because I know the sheriff really didn't want to be in charge of that, but he's the one that was moving the one
Yeah,
around.
like I said, we seen it up there prior to Memorial Day. It seemed like it was at least slow them down there. But even some signage, we talked, and I don't know what you guys gotta go through to get it reduced to a 15-mile-an-hour. I know we can't do that all the way around the lake, but
Being
or whatever you need for this. from us.
engineers, to get an engineer's report to to reduce it to 15. I mean, it's something that could be,
Did we go for an engineer's report, or did we just know that we couldn't? We couldn't drop the speed limit because of,
if you have an engineer.
Well, the thing is, they're not going
Consistent.
25, they're going 45.
They're going
Yeah.
45,
Yeah.
it's Sunday night. You know,
Yeah.
when they're leaving, Thursday, Friday, when they're coming in, but there's just some blind quarters now with everybody with the side by sides, it's even worse, you know, if they're screaming. You know, I kind of joked when we said last year, I'll just drop my tree across the road, but obviously we're not gonna do that, but it's pretty scary, you know.
But if we
liability.
put speed bumps there, isn't that a hazard for those side by side?
Well, it's no different than on Lake Shore Drive.
Yeah, no, I didn't agree with Lakeshore Drive. but-
I think they're slowing down quite a bit now that you have the two signs over there, because when I go over to like, the Halls or Messer's place, they definitely know they're there, even. That one that, you know, you just got one coming from the east, you know, like you said, the other one's in the Burlington, or it was on Sunday, but. You do see the people slowing down.
I like Paul's idea of the 2 more trailers.
How much are they, Paul?
I've never looked into them, I don't know. I can ask Scott how much he paid for his.
Yeah, why don't you? Well, I'd rather go that route.
Well, your maintenance.
Well, then they'd be the counties we can move them if we wanted, and it wouldn't be a hassle to Scott either, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe we get more speed limit signs, get more of them put up. And I don't know. It's just an idea.
so are you asking for speed bumps also?
Well, we need something to start with. There's just whatever, whether we start with the speed bump or start with, you know, the trailer kind of back in there, maybe a little bit more, you know, patrol reinforcement. Like I said, I volunteered kind of like where we're at, we're on what they call Sunset Strip. And we're in a blind spot. And I mean, if somebody was parking there, they'd have a field day slowing down people. I mean, that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to avoid some kid with all the new docks, because that subdivision there that goes up Village Road up behind like where the Hood's place and stuff, and that is. They've put in probably another 5 or 6 docks since last year, so that's just heavily populated, people crossing the road. And I think we just slowed people down, and like we talked about, even gave a courtesy to the construction people that are going by there to say, hey, you gotta slow down, you guys gotta slow down your trucks, because. You know, somebody's gonna get hit. The county's got a great liability, because it's in the record now that, you know, this has been brought up several times, and nothing's happening.
So, Paul, there's actually the LED solar power radar speed signs. Do you think that would work? You're putting on a post, or
Yeah, I
you
was gonna say
prefer the
permanent
trailer?
ones in a couple places might be just as good, like you guys have coming into town here.
That's 3,500.
Yeah, the speed trailers look like they're between 10 and 20,000.
A piece?
Yeah. For the
So
trailers.
that
Posts are cheaper.
the solar one for post, put on a permanent post would be like 3,500 range.
And the other ones are like.
How much are the trailers?
For the trailer,
Trailers are like in the 10,000 range, depending.
yeah, depending on them.
Can they steal the ones on the post?
Be damaged, but so could
Well-
the trailer.
The only thing about the trailers is they might, obviously they cost more money, but we can use them in a lot more spots.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Well, the county's doing their budget process now, so that's something that I'd encourage the county.
Maybe a combination of both.
can we do a couple more speed bumps, Paul? I know it's,
I don't like the idea of temporary speed bumps there, but whatever.
I know, but it's helping. Or permanent speed bumps, how do you do a permanent speed bump?
Well, we can't do permanent
I
ones.
know,
They just tear the snowplows to pieces.
yeah, right, understandable.
So what
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think we start with trailers. And like I say, I can order some more signs, speed limit signs, they put more signs up. And then, I mean, I don't know what else you do. You gotta start somewhere, I get that.
But we can't put up 15 mile an hour. speed
No,
bumps.
we gotta put up 25, because they're going 45. And the speed limit is 25, and if it was, there's already some up there that say 15 miles an hour, and they're still going that fast. So you can't write tickets, because that's not the right speed limit. So we do need to get our regulars, pull all the 15s down and put 25s up where they are. Because that is the speed limit,
So Paul,
and then at least they
this is Vladimir Babich again. So where the 15-mile-an-hour signs are they just there? Or was there an engineering study done where they were as well?
There's been no.
could, people just put them on.
So that's just, like we talked about last year, we don't want to put speed bumps up ourselves because every homeowner in Georgetown, if you put them up, then you guys have
Yeah.
just a nightmare, So truly the speed limit around the lake is 25 all the way around. Them 15 are just something somebody bought and put up themselves.
So,
Yeah.
We're doing the research, yeah.
Okay, Paul, can you get the 25s and get them up there, and then we'll make a motion to look into or buy 2 trailers.
Yeah, I'll order signs today.
Perfect, thank you. Start.
Okay, so I'll make that motion that we can buy the 2 trailers.
Okay, I'll second.
Any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you. How about, do we just talk to the sheriff about maybe some increased patrol that might help?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's,
Well,
Would we?
I mean, they're doing, I know they're spread
Yeah.
very thin.
I talked to him, he was up there writing tickets this summer and he sending a deputy up, but yeah, you can talk.
And if
you
they,
talk to
like
him.
I say, if they need a couple of places, we got some places
Yeah,
more than happy to host them.
okay.
Well,
Good.
thank you guys very much.
All right, thanks for that.
Appreciate you.
If I may just speak for a moment to the speed limit thing. I'm Michael Such, 758 Georgetown Lake Road. I brought a couple pictures of what is going on with the existing speed bumps. The speed bumps that were in down there on Lake Shore just run up to the job. You can see on this side here, the bolt sticking out after this thing has been dislodged, that bolt's sticking up about that high. So.
So when did you take that picture?
That was, I think, Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Paul says, it's 2 inches of pavement.
Right, yeah,
Oh,
and I'm gonna be the unpopular voice and say, I'm against putting in speed bumps. I mean, after the miserable spring and half a summer we had with the roads being all tore up and rough. We got one good piece of road and we're gonna pull that to it. It just doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense
well,
to me.
And to me, if it's coming up, it's more of a liability than anything, so.
The other thing being, I mean, I've had a little bit of experience with speed bumps because in an earlier life, the public safety people had to weigh in on them because it interferes with their work. I mean, they can't bring a fire truck to a stop and get it started again instantly. And that's basically what these cause you to do. And with these where they're located, they're into a steep hill at both ends because the place that these folks are trying to sort of annex into their yard is a bowl. So, when you put in the speed bumps, you put them in shape so that they're not a big nuisance to the vehicles going the posted speed limit. But if somebody's 10 or 15 over, then they do become a nuisance, but they need to be a lot longer so they're a gradual pump. And these just aren't doing the trick. So, yeah, if I can put in my 2 cents, everybody wants everybody to drive 15 miles an hour past their house, but they want to drive 70 getting to that spot. And it's just, it can't work that way. And in the case of the folks at Lake Shore, I think you've got some Forest Service lease cabin holders there. They're there part of the time. Don't like the fact that there is an arterial road, which is what that is for Georgetown going through their place. And for the 10 years plus I've been around here, they've always been trying to gradually annex that into their yard. I think the rest of us have a little bit of a right to reasonable use of a public road on the public property that just happens to go by their place without having to run a gauntlet of speed bumps, slow turtles placed in the road, sandwich boards. A couple years back, there was road work on Highway 1, so there was a good supply of traffic cones available apparently, and they had that thing coned on both sides for a couple hundred yards down to one narrow lane. You know, and I just think at some point enough is enough. I mean, we all got to share.
Well, we let them know to take those cones down, but yeah, they shouldn't be doing that. It's gonna be bigger safety issues than the speed.
I haven't been through there for a couple of days, but last time I was through there, you know, you got the slow turtles, you got the sandwich boards out in the travel way. So, you know, if you ask me, that's part of what needs to stop here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. If you'd like to vote or anything, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
What do you think, Paul?
I think he's right. I mean, I think we pull them up and we get rid of them, and as far as those guys, you know, we have a 60-foot right of way through there. Let them keep their yard off the road. Everybody else does.
Agree, they shouldn't have obstructions in the roadway unless they've talked to.
I mean, they're mowing right to the edge of the road there, and really their yard should be 10, at least 10 feet beyond, you know, back. But I guess we've talked about the hazard of them before.
Well, is there any way we could make it through to after Labor Day? With the speed bumps?
Well, leave them as they are.
But they're hazards.
So what are you suggesting? Take them down.
I'd take them out. We said we put them in.
So there is,
But they're getting vibrated off and gonna, yeah, I think that could cause an accident.
Yeah, we'd have more liability there. And it's a Forest
Yeah.
Service road, flash. Forest Service.
I'd
say
take them out and make a plan for next year on these trailers and maybe something else. No. That's what my advice to.
Yeah, it's not even our road. Why are we taking this risk? Because we didn't know before.
Yeah.
But we know now that they're gonna come up. with-
hazard.
You know, yeah.
Make a motion to remove.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's not an easy decision.
Okay. So we've got. What, another month, and then we're planning on taking them out in September after Labor Day, is that correct?
Yeah,
And you want to go up and take them out now because pictures showing that they're not going into the ground deep enough. So they're actually, the speed bumps are not correct for the type of road that they're being put in.
exactly.
Is that right, Paul?
Yep.
So you're advising that we remove them because they are causing a liability. And then get the signage up for speed limits, and I'm thinking that looking into those. Maybe get the sheriff to put his back up there now until we can get Labor Day, until we can get our own.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
But he's got he has, is sitting out in different spots, so I mean, and we can't tell him what to do with this trailer.
Can have,
Can we ask him?
yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
ask him
yeah,
because of the,
absolutely.
okay, can you ask him?
I'll ask him.
Will you ask him?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have Blaine ask him. If he can put, because we have to remove the speed bumps due to a liability and they're not being adhered to the road properly, but and until we can get our thing, what is it called?
The speed trailer.
Speed trailer, that if we can use his through the next couple of weeks until Labor Day. Does that sound all right? Does that sound all right with you guys?
Well, we're gonna have everybody on
Yes.
Lake Shore ready to kill us for new speed bumps, but you know, that removes the liability. If you can't maintain them, like this gentleman here said, that the bolt car's kicking is pretty high. So
Yeah,
like, I said,
Yeah.
I'm worried
Yeah.
about liability for a side by side. I think it's probably bigger with them bolts than the speed bumps are.
Yeah,
So you second it?
yeah, I second.
Any other public comment? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, so I guess we're removing the speed bumps, Paul,
Okay,
and Blaine will ask the sheriff.
Yep.
And then you'll get to sign more signs up there, right?
yeah, I'll order them today.
Okay,
and then your budget talks, you'll
yeah,
talk about too.
yeah.
Okay. We can finally move on, I think. We're done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys later then.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Okay,
Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
bye.
You too. Bye.
Okay, now our dam tenders report, Georgetown Lake Outflow review. I think we should go up to 40 CFS. For the ranchers and we're way up. And I think we gotta lower it down, start lowering it down. You know, for the,
Okay, so this is the time of year where they are done with their haying and they want more water?
well,
That-
some of them get second crop down more. Yeah, maybe some up here too. But
So it'd be a temporary modification request that we could bring up with the three agencies and. For how long would, and they're gonna, probably Fish Wildlife and Parks will say. You pay it back later on, so.
I think we're gonna level up, we shouldn't have to pay it back.
Yeah,
I mean, I was paying it back last year, it was a whole different situation.
yeah.
Because we were going down at 30, way down.
I'm just saying they might not agree to it unless.
Who
Yeah,
might not agree to it?
Fish Wildlife and Parks may not agree
Oh.
to it unless you agree to pay it back. I'm not, that's kind of what they've been. Historically
So
speaking.
how do you pay
asking
it
for.
back?
Reducing it later on in
Yeah,
the fall.
Well, we had it reduced so low that we couldn't reduce it any
Right,
lower
right,
last year.
last year was a different situation, so I think we should go up to 40 for a while, see what it does for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, and. Yeah, we can always go back to 30. But
So,
that would give them a little
Yeah.
bit more down there, and then, like I say, I mean, we don't wanna go into the fall. Past haying season with a full.
Are the ranchers talking to you and asking for that, or? I wonder if we shouldn't see what their thoughts are this time.
So we have Scott McDonald, I see he's online. Do you have an opinion, Scott?
Send them a request.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, yeah,
A lot of the use that we use for the water after haying is to get them fields recharged and get some growth so they go into winter and they're healthy. So it's not really about a second cutting up in this end of the country. It's more about getting the kind of the aquifer recharged and get the plants healthy and get their solar panels growing again. So you got them for the winter.
Okay,
so you're in favor of going to 40?
Yes,
okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. I make a motion, we go 40. With,
For 2 weeks
For
and
2
be
weeks.
subject to. By
subject,
the three agencies.
Yeah.
All right.
subject to,
Yeah, I wouldn't raise it until we get their consent.
No, second, any public comment? None. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
yeah, it was like looking this morning, it was like 0.01.
How many inches?
More like that.
2.28.
2.28.
That's it.
2.4. What?
See, when I looked at it.
2.28.
Let me.
2.2 inches.
I will here and see just. Where we're at.
Well, it's on the thing.
I know, but I was gonna look at right this very second. Did you notice we still don't have our graph? The.
Yeah, it's 2.28 inches below 6429.31.
Okay, right now, as of 10:15, it's 6429.3.
So we're about 2.3 inches. Which is way up. Okay, now we're in resolution 2023-9. Granite County resolution increasing certain county fiscal year budget funds due to unexpected expenditures.
Hey, Blaine, I have a question on you. Is this the, like, the line item transfers that you would do at the end of the budget year?
Yeah, so the auditor asked for the resolution. The funds that were over were seniors had increased supply
So-
costs from inflation, you had the backhoe, you know, prepare for solid waste.
So how do we,
And
I realize the ones that, but the Flint Creek project is in the negative balance cash wise. How can we increase that budget without getting funds from somewhere else to be able to increase that budget? Shouldn't that be in the resolution?
So that would be my thing as well, but Don Davies told Sarah no. But that's something we'll have to find the funds there. Though didn't she clarify that and say that there was potentially was more in there than, because the CARES money that was in that? Or not?
No, it was in there. That money was put
And
in.
it was still in the.
Yeah,
still
it
in the
was
negative.
still
Yeah,
negative. No,
so I think in this presume then in this budget
okay,
cycle,
so
then
this
coming up
this
with.
is increasing the budget. Due to. Because like in some of the funds. The whole budget, usually a line item, you can go through the fund and then switch around.
Yeah.
Your line items. But I was looking at the cash report at the end of June. And. Like the Flint Creek project. Is. In the negative at the end of June, as far as cash has no money. The. Solid waste does have the cash
Okay,
and. Peter or. what,
Seniors.
Senior citizens. What's that fund number? Do we have that?
let's see here. It's in the resolution.
22. It's in the resolution. I don't have, let me look here.
Alright. Yeah, well,
Let me see what-
I next to you here. Give more shares back.
Hello.
So senior citizens. Is in the negative also. Cash flow.
So you have to
Really?
have a plan for.
Okay, so Dawn is. Dawn said that. It's
Yeah.
an adjustment for budget purposes to
And yeah,
correct.
and don't need the where it's coming from, but that's something the
Yeah.
commission will have to decide where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just.
yeah, usually I put it in where it's
Understand.
coming from. But
Okay, so those are the only funds that went over their budget. And so we have to increase the budget by resolution.
yes,
So this is the first reading. Got it?
Mhm.
Okay,
It's still
Yeah,
that
just
that
curious.
deficit in the Plank Creek project. What do we do?
Yeah, I'll have to have a plan for where those funds are gonna come from.
yeah, and when we have. We got a work session. Which I think during the, at 11:30, so we can discuss it then.
All right. But you have don't you have more CARES funds?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We have that.
Probably that.
LA.
TCF, yeah, and so. Yeah, could come from LATCF.
You made a motion.
Oh,
there's no motion.
yeah, first reading.
Okay. So. Move on to potential fire restrictions in Granite County. I got an inch of rain.
You what?
Had an inch of rain. last-
Had the same, bro.
I got an email from Jackie with notes from Sean O'Connor concerning this, the Granite County Fire Warden. He would like to see stage 1 restrictions be placed in the county I-90 and then north to the county line until further notice or until conditions change. Says for more information and clarification on the fire restrictions, the public can visit montanafireinfo.org.
So north of I-90.
Yeah, stage 1 restrictions be placed on the county I-90 and north to the county line.
But we got, Drummond got substantial rain too this weekend.
Did they?
That
Yeah,
was, or here, wait, I was on vacation, so let me.
Who's that from, Billy?
The fire warden for the county,
So when
Sean
was that?
O'Connor. August 2nd, so
That's okay.
that was prior to the week.
yeah.
Because I was on
prior to the
vacation, sorry.
weekend. Yeah,
So
I think that's, for at this point would be
No,
overkill.
public comment.
Yeah, Mike Zug again, Georgetown Lake. There's been a little more granularity lately in breaking the county apart north and south of I-90. I would just like to really quickly encourage you to think about in the future, maybe breaking out Georgetown Lake as another area to look at specifically when you're implementing state restrictions, because like Paul said about the roads past meeting, it's a much cooler, much wetter place that kind of marches to a different time schedule. And at least in my opinion, putting stage restrictions on people, especially when you get down to like stage 2 and silencing their weed whackers is not really helping. You know, we have our fire problems in May typically, because it typically, I mean, we pretty much never have a wildfire there in the summertime. Because the weather doesn't get there, but in May, when everything's come through the winter and is available. But the only way to have that stuff gone in May is to be getting rid of it in August and September, when if you put stage restrictions on, people can't. So anyway, I would just ask you to think about maybe talking about that for future years. I don't think it's gonna make a difference.
I totally agree.
Yeah, that's a good point. I personally am hesitant on these stage restrictions because it's not humans that are causing these fires. If people were being negligent with fires around here, then you want to come in with regulations, but it's my understanding, they're all lightning caused and so forth instead of human caused. So there's inherent lack of trust, I think, in the people with these stage restrictions.
Yeah, I'd echo that too. You know, it's not people starting more grass fires that are causing the problem. It's these lightning fires kindled into 100,000 acre fires that then you leave them until the wind event comes along and they blow into town.
Agreed.
Thank you.
So I said a decision, so I'll make it a motion, we'll do nothing.
I'll second it.
Any public comment? None, all in favor? Aye. Okay, Phillipsburg Volunteer Ambulance. Personnel recruitment, organizational issues.
Morning, everybody.
Morning. How's it going?
Robert, you want to come up?
Robert's gonna report first on his recruiting efforts, and to go along with that, we developed some promo materials and a logo. And we'd like to ask that you don't post this artwork or anything like this at this point, because there's still a few dummy values. These are for the commissioners plugged in. Just so we can see how it looks, but we're really excited about it. And
One of the things I'd say is the reason why this was on the agenda is Robert was gone, so I really think the commission should defer on recruitment to. Ambulance Association unless you need help, and so.
No, we're, Robert, we're down Phillipsburg ambulance, we're doing pretty well with interest, I've got. 2 new EMTs besides myself and Pat that are taking on calls and kind of getting themselves trained up. There's still been support from Drummond when we can't make it. I've had 3 more people ask since I've been home on how they can join, so. Kind of just the next step for recruitment is I gotta fill out an application form to get people so I can get the. Licensure information and all that stuff, and then once we have our next official meeting again, we can start voting on members, but in the interim, the people that kind of came on when we built it up. I don't know if you call it grandfathering, but they're just gonna be our members now. So we have a voting forum at our next meeting.
How many EMTs?
We have myself plus 3, and then Jamie Bancroft and Robert Madoff. I don't know if they're just interim helping while we stand up or if they want to be official members, but I'll talk to them. So if we have them, we've got 6 total.
I agree with you. The ambulance association never dissolved, so those members should stay if they wanted.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So. The budget process, we are going to levy it again, so. Probably it wouldn't hurt to get maybe a copy of the budget from the clerk and recorder's office and go looking at it. And looking at what you need for the next fiscal year.
Absolutely.
And then another thing too is as far as EMT training, that's something that if you feel you want. We're gonna do as much as we can to make sure that there's funds for EMT training, and that will put on a line item on your budget as well.
Do you want him to make a request for it on
Yeah,
his
just
budget?
go in and say what you need.
Okay.
On that budget report, and then we'll be working on budgets in the next couple of weeks. And we'll be going from there, so just put down what you need, and if you've got people that are interested and want to do the EMT training. Then we'll figure out what we need for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a few that want
So,
to train.
do we have that money for like equipment? He needs new equipment,
We've
Well,
got that. LAT.
we can use that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we still have what, 800,000 that's sitting in there for.
700.
Set aside for public safety and Peter ambulance certainly fits the bill, so,
Yeah, we just need to restock
yeah,
on some things that are expired and get some
Yeah.
back stock on
Yeah.
some stuff, so.
sounds like there's some grant opportunities as well there.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
So are you guys running now then?
yeah, we've run 4 or 5 calls now.
awesome.
yeah, thank you.
So who's gonna do the billing?
I gotta speak with, Pat, but we have a new, or a company that I believe Drummond's using.
Yeah.
Soulstone.
I would encourage you
Yeah.
to use that.
Yeah, I think that's it, and then we just gotta get image trend sent back up so we can get our patient reports in. But
See, and Jamie might be able to help you with that. I think she's real familiar with where you just send your reports right into them and then they
yeah,
bill out and then when the charges come in, then it supplements your budget.
yeah, and Soulstone will be a big help,
Yeah.
because that kind of takes off the paperwork
And,
issue
yeah,
and outside source stuff.
I don't know if you got this email yet, but I just forwarded you this morning an email for EMT training in Deer Lodge.
Yes,
Right, okay.
I just got that, I forwarded that to our guys as well.
I think there was a $500 fee for the class, but it's a lot simpler than putting on your own.
Yeah,
But
then that's actually pretty cheap and.
so is that for
EMT
for
classes.
training?
Yeah. for
Okay.
EMT
class for
And it's simpler
Help with
and.
your budget, you
that
know how
for
much it
them.
is.
Yeah,
it doesn't cost nearly the money to just send people to the class that you know.
yeah, if you go to a
Yeah.
normal class, it's usually around $900,000, but 500 is quite well.
Yeah,
Well, Pat, Little can testify, and I've been through my share of helping train EMTs in classes. It's very time consuming and pretty expensive.
Yeah.
To put your own on.
That is,
It's just an option for
yeah,
you. but-
no, absolutely.
Sounds like a good option.
Yep.
Anything else? You have something?
So the you talked about potentially doing an executive director and putting doing that either as an independent contractor, paid employee, part-time. Commission still interested in that?
I think we have to go through the budget.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, we're getting the ambulance, Peaburg ambulance up and running, and I think with what they're doing right now, we need to look into it, and if they're able, what do you think about that?
I think it would be infinitely helpful to have an outside source as, like a project manager and executive director to kind of alleviate some of that full-time work off of the volunteer service.
Just for the Phillipsburg side, yeah,
Yeah.
Drummond's not.
Yeah,
interested.
right.
Because that's, I mean, as a volunteer, you can only do so much and then you pile on. The extra paperwork, the grant writing, the bylaws, pretty much everything. Mary's been doing that kind of consumes everything and you don't really have time for the operation side of things. And I think that's kind of where people start getting burned out.
Yeah,
Yeah, help with that would be,
This is maintaining your
An amazing
EMT
resource.
license, it's a part-time job.
yeah.
Say that again.
Just maintaining your EMT license and the training required is a part-time job.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of paperwork
Yeah.
to continue to keep all that together and to have somebody outside of the organization kind of field that would be.
so we
So
would need to
is-
know just exactly what that would entail.
So would they work for Robert then?
They wouldn't work for the ambulance service because they wouldn't necessarily be licensed, so under our licensing, they would need the EMT license. and
So
stuff
they'd
like
have to
that. So
work
they would,
through the commission.
I would say they would work
Through
through
the
the county.
county, to be an employee or an independent contractor. Employee option is probably the better one. But you can look at pros and cons. If you're an independent contractor, they have to get their independent contractor exemption, have insurance, which sure the county would pay for, but some hoops to jump through. But then again, do you want to do it as a permanent position as well? It's something to consider. But it's not, if you decide later on, you can establish it as a permanent position, and later on, if it's not needed, then it could be dissolved.
or redirected onto another project, depending on what
Yeah.
you guys have at any given time. From my perspective, it appears that if somebody doesn't get hired to step in and to do the job that I've been providing pro bono, then, you know, the definition of insanity is to do it just like we've always done it and to fall apart right now and not get the results that we want. Another thing that could happen with a person who permanently, a part-time person who permanently reported to the commission is, yeah, we could go back to where we first started out and say, okay, maybe the hospital steps in with ambulance services. Now all of our talent can step in with an awesome QRU service to support that or whatever. It would be a person who could be reused, but if we drop the ball now, I don't know what would happen to you guys.
I know
We'll be
the,
back here discussing this. in
Yeah.
2 years is what's gonna happen.
I know that
It'll work.
Brian, the new CEO at the hospital talked about last night at the Rotary meeting that he wants to look at doing that, so it's a work in progress. He's gonna meet with John Fitzpatrick this week, state representative. And another thought I have also is to go back to the legislature on this idea of the retirement for volunteer ambulance personnel. And I know you guys aren't doing it for the paycheck, but to have a decent retirement after 20 years would be a good,
Yeah.
good benefit.
Yeah, I mean, the VFD, they do their own through there. I mean, it's nothing that's gonna, for you to live
Yeah.
off of, but it's enough to pay a medical bill or two.
Yeah.
You're retired, something to show you.
Legislature 2 sessions ago was gonna research it, and PRS was kind of fighting it and wanting it researched. I don't know if they ever did research. I haven't heard back, so something to follow up with John Fitzpatrick or rep on.
So Mary, do you have an idea of what it would cost? Per se, to have this director?
Yeah, this executive director to work collaboratively and cooperatively with the chief to make sure that we have a good organization that has some longevity, that can be flexible, provide what this valley needs. We are thinking about a 10-hour a week position. The next week, when we talk about organizational issues, we have a professional policy and procedure manual now and good bylaws that we're planning to bring to you for your blessing. If everything else falls into place, and the policies administered by the director directly substantiate the different points in the county job description the way it needs to. This should be a professional position, something like a program officer for a job title, working title executive director. And if it classifies where I believe it should classify based on the duties outlined in our policy and procedure manual and approved by everybody, then I believe that it should be about $25 an hour for 10 hours a week. And it would need to be one of those things to get a professional qualified to step in to do what I've been doing pro bono. You're gonna need to pay enough for it, but to have a good job done and to know that this isn't gonna happen again in 2 more years when maybe we've just tried the rest of our volunteers period or whatever. This, in my opinion, is cost effective. It's a 10-hour week positions. You're not talking about big benefits.
What does like the DES coordinator make? Is that in the
22.
22? So it's in that range.
So the 10 hours a week, I mean, that would be something. You want to set up a line item in your budget to request for a project director at 10 hours a week.
I don't know, I'm not very privy with this side of things more often.
So this would be something,
Well, it sounds like.
if you want to, and this would be something you're requesting 10 hours a week at 25 an hour.
For
Is
whoever
what you're
takes the
requesting, and
position
then
that
the
works.
benefit side of it would be taken over by the clerk and recorder's office. They'd figure out the benefit side of the 10 hours a week on
Right.
top of the $25 an hour.
Right, and obviously a 0.25 FTE position, we're not expecting, somebody to have.
Yeah, I mean, there's benefits with social security benefits and.
Yeah.
Right, sure,
Yeah.
the FICA, that's the
See,
biggest benefit for the person coming
yeah.
on as an employee
So,
rather
we
than.
have unemployment and all this other stuff that has to be added into
Right.
that hourly wage into
Right.
the budget. So that's, I guess
Right.
that's all you have to put on that budget is requesting, is that something that
You could talk, I think I'm talking to Sarah, she could help them with that one.
Well, I think all you have to do is just throw it in that budget line item and Sarah's gonna figure it out
Yeah.
and do the salary side of it.
And I think it's gonna come out more cost effective that way, even though we have those costs bear on the behalf of that employee, because like Wayne mentioned, for an independent contractor to come in, they're gonna pick that person to death for liability insurance. We're gonna have to pay for that. They're gonna have to pay their own FICA. Just a huge headache to get through the process. We're gonna have to ask for more money than we're asking from the county.
That's
I think it's gonna come out better this way for everybody.
liability insurance is gonna be the.
So the problem being, is there anybody interested in a 10-hour job a week?
They could
I'll be
advertise,
applying for it.
yeah.
Huh?
I'll be applying
Okay.
for it.
Alright.
me ask this, can I ask some questions about this position?
Yeah.
There's no job description for that yet, correct? And the question I have is, this person in this 10-hour position, they're just gonna be there in a management sort of spot, they're not gonna be boots on the ground
Right.
with the.
They're not
animals?
with the ambulance, they'll be working under.
Under the commissioners as a program officer, and in that white folder that I gave you of stuff. There is a job description drafted in the county format right now that ties each duty that this person is supposed to perform to an exact policy in the policy book, the way. Chief and I see it divided up. to
Okay,
certain
I didn't
membership.
get that word for word, so one of the questions I have is that person responsible to make sure that the Phillipsburg ambulance has volunteers on this group?
I would say that's a shared duty. I'm, the person in this position would do everything necessary to support Robert's function of hiring and training and overseeing an appropriate crew. It would be 2 people working together to accomplish something that Robert couldn't possibly have the time to accomplish himself.
Right.
Saying responsible, I don't think we can ask him to do the impossible because you're with volunteers, but. In
Right,
good
no.
faith, in good faith, working to have a crew
And-
that's
and-
functioning.
In reality, looking at this and looking at the hours that you're saying it would entail is much more feasible than trying to put a full-time person with benefits into this position when it doesn't need, you don't need the 40-hour.
Right, a lot of the push right now has been to put an organizational foundation beneath our feet, and you all
Yes.
saw the first drafts of those
Yeah.
items, and
Yeah.
we've been through them, and now that some of the really, really hard stuff is just grunted out. I think it's reasonable to expect that somebody in 10 or 12 hours a week could do a really good job at keeping this going and not just dropping it dead right now.
Much better than I can do with them.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on, so we don't need a motion on this.
No, the recruitment, they can take care of and doing their proposed budget and then next week, it was gonna be on for the organizational issues of bylaws and.
Bylaws,
the operating-
policy and procedure manual, and
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know that the county commission needs to approve that policy and procedure, but the bylaws would be the. be the
Okay,
commission,
so
but-
here's a question, because you're doing this work already, you're pretty much in there doing this work. We need an interim, and then does it go out, we need to post it, put an ad in the paper for this position? We need to
Yeah.
say, yes, we want to do this position, is that a decision we can make today that?
No, I put it on the agenda, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, any public comment?
And you want it on next week?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
with the bylaws and
yeah,
policies.
so if we can get everything in a nutshell and do the budget and stuff, and we can look at it and go forward.
Yeah, one quick thing to say, in the past, it does appear that you guys have approved the policy and procedure as a part of the bylaws. We've split it out for clarity, but it might be a reasonable thing to carry that forward. Might be something to think about.
Well, if they're approving that job description in there, yeah, they probably, they should be
Yeah.
given a.
Yeah,
blessing
and that's
to it.
all part of it,
Yeah.
the new organizational chart with eyes on having 2 people to perform this duty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
Okay.
for your time.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, guys,
yeah, thank you,
for your hard work.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to subdivision and RV parks legalities and procedures, general review.
There's Linda rushing in to talk to you.
I have copies too, if anybody's here for it that wants a copy, just. Okay. So that's the email.
I think Eddie Amber is a medical. Eddie Amber is the medical one that I for the ambulance. Yes, he is. I was in Powell Pass. So.
So, one thing we talked about is potentially keeping this kind of generic because the county commission looking at doing subdivision review has it has a quasi judicial role, and so you don't really have a issue right before you, but we wanted to give you an update on the general law and so forth, and potentially Linda can give an update on what she did.
Yeah, so, and you guys have, I gave you a copy last week, but let me give you another copy. Just so you have it there. And this is from, okay. Okay, so,
We're not gonna talk about this.
no, I mean, we're just kind of talking about. I think
overall
clarifying that it
view
isn't an RV of what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's what I need to kind of maybe explain is. So I got a call from somebody who said they're putting in an RV park, they heard a rumor. I told them I can't send a letter based on a rumor. So go talk to them, go see what's going on. Matt Pierce was in the area at the time. He said he would go check, because he can go talk to him. And several days later, they called back, said, we've talked to Sharon Mungus, she said she was going to do an RV park.
I told people we weren't gonna talk about Mungus, we're gonna talk about generalities.
Right,
Because I didn't want comments, or I don't think we want comments coming in about the East Fork Meadows. I mean, that's,
Yeah. So I think, the summary is that there's no RV park that's,
Right.
if they're gonna do one to go, the law is to go through subdivision review.
and I'm just telling you why the letter got Right. sent.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to understand why we're discussing
Right.
this. And
This
we
is
need to
just
know that
kind
there
of
is
the
no RV
background
park. Of why
End of
it
discussion.
got sent.
Okay.
So it got sent because I did get that comment in, and then a few days later. Matt Pierce got a request to do an RV park. Addressing. I talked to so I sent the letter out. That is my
Wait a
standard
minute,
letter.
I'm gonna stop this again,
Okay,
because we're not gonna talk about that,
Okay,
that.
okay,
incident,
okay,
Huh?
okay, yeah, so
okay,
we can talk about,
Yeah, we can talk about generalized, how we go about it, how the commission, what power the commission has. And the planning board, and how it has to go through that.
okay. So essentially, this is how, what the law works in Granite County. Is that if you are going to do an RV park, it constitutes as a subdivision. You have to go through subdivision requirements. And you have to, go through the planning board, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to get the survey, that's the one thing you don't have to do. But you do have to do all the other requirements, and it gets reviewed as a subdivision. So that's one side of it, the state law looks at RVs and mobile homes as a division of land. Which is why they end up getting reviewed as a subdivision. If you're going to be doing cabins, they look at that more as like a motel. And you're renting the space out inside. You are a landlord, you own the property, you take care of the property, and you're simply renting the space. So state law says that you can have 3 cabins unless the county has designated a higher amount. So our county has designated at 5. So you get 5 cabins without review, and at the point you get 6 cabins, you come in for review. Now, when this law came into place, there were places that were already existing. Such as the ranch at Rock Creek already had all their cabins and stuff like that. So those people were all grandfathered in. And it is 5 cabins for us per tract of land. So you can have 2 tracts of land and situate 500 and kind of sneak around things that way a little bit. The thing is, you can, and we do have people who put up, and this is where it gets a little tricky looking, they will put up Airstreams, RVs, whatever, they put them on a permanent foundation, they own them, they rent them. That is considered a building for lease or rent, not an RV park. To be an RV park, you have to just be renting the slip. And they have to bring an RV in and hook up to your spaces. So.
look at like a tiny, a little house.
Yeah,
little
it's
cabin,
that like a little house, a movable little house. So little homes and anything, little cabins. Any kind of commercial buildings, it doesn't matter the zoning, since there's no zoning in a lot of the county. There is nothing to designate what you can do with the rental. The rental is a rental is a rental. If you had one building with 10 little units in its rent, that's gonna count as 10. But if you've got one building renting out as one building, it's counted as 1 unit, regardless of the size of it. Okay, so end of story is, it goes through the planning board and it goes through you as the county planner before it ever comes to our desk. For buildings for lease or rent? No, for RV parks. Right, an RV park is gonna come through just like a subdivision. It's like subdivision. Buildings for lease and rent, once they hit 6. Is gonna go to the planning board and then it'll come to the commission, but it's a different process, it's not nearly as in-depth as. The
So
subdivision.
any comment made to us or made to the commission is referred to the planning board and the county planner. Because we have no idea what's going on and it has to go through subdivision regulations if it's an RV. If it's an RV.
One thing I'd caution the commission on again is you're acting like judges in review of subdivisions. You don't want to. So judges can't have ex parte communication to them on such things, so I encourage the commission not to allow that. And that's, I think what Chuck's getting at is you don't want the public comment right now because you don't have like a judge, district judge wouldn't hear a case without there being a complaint file and the case being before him. Same with the commission, you don't hear a case before it's right.
And like I said, no zoning means no. I mean, since there's no zoning, there's nothing we can do to control anything that way.
Unless there's covenants.
Yeah, if there was covenants on a piece of property, then the homeowners could go ahead and institute trying to.
Private rule law is enforced generally when.
But as far as the county goes, we can enforce subdivision on RVs, we can enforce. Review under cabins, that's it.
Well, I got the impression that some people thought that the commission could just interfere and stop a project. No.
Have to go through the process, and the commission, when you're looking at subdivision review, you have to follow the statutory rules as well. You can't be arbitrary.
And even if a subdivision was occurring, you have to show, it's difficult to deny a subdivision. You have to show that there are impacts that cannot be mitigated, reasonably mitigated to deny it. Almost every county that ever gets sued on a subdivision loses. We actually are one of the few counties that have won a subdivision lawsuit. It was on that one big one down by Missoula that they were going to do, gosh, what, 15 years ago? And the only reason we won was because we repeatedly asked them for information on traffic impacts and they refused to give it. And so we won because they would not mitigate that concern.
That great big one down there, that, what's his face?
Wally Condon's there, but he wasn't the one that did it. It was,
Red Meadows.
Yeah.
They were basically wanting to build a small town down there.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Okay, just one comment. So what you're saying is that it would be if we had people that called us and complained that this was happening, and we would refer them to the county planner and the planning board. And the only time it would hit our desk is when they met all the qualifications and for the necessary subdivision, it hits our desk, we have to follow the rules and say, we can't deny this just willy-nilly because we have people complaining about it. We have to follow procedure,
Right.
and if it fits all the, what's that word? Criteria.
Yeah, the criteria.
Yeah, criteria.
You can't
We
deny
have to
it
accept
simply because you have public
Yes.
that doesn't like it. They have to actually have reasons tied to the project that will, and they have to be able to not mitigate those impacts,
Yeah.
which is very, very difficult to do. I mean, most of the time you can reasonably mitigate impacts. And, you know, unfortunately, things like increased traffic on a county road, those really don't. That's just not an impact that has a mitigation usually that you can.
Example would be that minor subdivision up at Georgetown at the steep driveway. Remember the issues were
Yeah.
talked about?
Yeah.
Public talked about their concerns, those concerns were mitigated, that was resolved, right?
Right. And they have to, and the law specifically says you have to give due consideration to the developer's preferred mitigations. Not like the preferred mitigations of the public, so that it swings it back to the property rights of the person who's developing. And says you have to let them try to develop out their property. In the manner that they want, and if you haven't, and the only thing that really can control any of that, saying, hey, you can't do this at all, is if you zone it. And you know, zoning comes with its own issues, and you know, if you, when you get to the point where you're thinking of zoning anything, you have to really think, do you want to turn a portion of your own property rights over to the government, knowing that at that point you have lost control of what the government can do with that property right. So, you know, you may put zoning into effect that says one thing, but that doesn't mean that it won't morph into something else 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and it's vastly different from what you started out with. I mean, you start out maybe just wanting to control how far people set back and heights, and you end up with the color of houses and really in-depth
Yeah.
zoning that
Well, look
is
at
out of control.
Missoula zoning regs are,
Yeah.
you know, 2 inches thick and they grant variances off everything and it creates.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want that. You don't ever want to put a regulation in place that you're just granting variances off of. But when RV stuff comes into me, I have a standard form letter that I send out saying you have to stop work until you either come in for subdivision review, or it says in the letter, or you demonstrate that you're not doing an RV park. So one question too, in the application for any kind of subdivision, in your process, you make sure that all your area homeowners are sent letters stating that, and they can put their opinion into you about whether or not they want this subdivision. It depends on the subdivision. So if major subdivisions are required to have a public hearing. So if it's a major subdivision, then all property owners that are adjacent that actually have touching ground to the property will get a notification. They actually end up getting 2 notifications, one for a commission public hearing, one for the planning board public hearing. If it's 5 lots or under, then we don't send notices to the public. But every single planning board meeting we have is published in the paper. We notice them, we make sure people can come to them. The entire agenda is printed, so you can see what's on it. So we do try to get out the notice, and we take comment on whatever at any time, so.
Okay, any public comment?
Oh, I just have a quick question on.
Come on up and state your name.
Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Tina Stiles. And I was just wondering if there was a minimum acreage.
No, that's controlled by zoning.
Okay.
So if with no zoning, there's no minimum acreage. We usually tell people, well, you need at least about an acre to do a standard septic system. But you know, that's not hard and fast. That's just for a standard septic system. We usually need about an acre, but
okay.
Elena has a comment.
So I guess, I just had a question about the traffic was a mitigation was successful. But then you mentioned that traffic isn't a good reason sometimes. So how do you kind of come up with the traffic things? Obviously traffic's getting pretty nutty around Granite County. So I'm just curious what the cutoff is.
so they do have to, so I guess they do have to mitigate traffic to, in the case of that subdivision, they had to route people along an old county road, but they didn't want to do any kind of improvements or studies or anything to show. So getting the traffic from the county road to the property is one thing, but then traffic that is recreational that may come off of it going up to East Fork, that would not be considered as anything that, you know,
Part of that.
right, review.
So, I know we're not talking about it, but that now that we got that pavement out there, everybody's going faster over there and traffic's increasing and it's just curious what the traffic thing was.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll have traffic things that we say, well, you know, repost the speed down a little lower, or if it's a big subdivision in that one, there was gonna be major, I mean, we're talking like 150 plus lots they were looking at doing. So huge impacts on stuff.
Otherwise, go to the county and if you want to express your concerns about any kind of subdivision, it sounds like the county.
The county, yep, the county has a requirement to hear comments on subdivisions always.
Oftentimes, I put those concerns if I review what they got going on in my. How I respond to the subdivision, like for example, one here in Phillipsburg had a problem with where they were coming onto the road because it was on a blind corner. But that's not gonna stop it. They
Yeah.
just mitigate that and move on. I have the same concerns with public safety on some of these subdivisions as well, and I do express my opinion on those. Doesn't stop it, but it helps it.
Thank you.
Everybody needs to sign in. I don't know if they ever signed in. Okay.
Elena?
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. Any more public comment?
Elena.
Elena?
Thank you, Elena Gagliano, for the record. First of all, I want to say, Linda, you're doing an excellent job, not only with Granite County Planning, but also with the Planning Board. And I suggest that if you have any questions, the Planning Board meets the first Thursday of the month when necessary. And that's where you can bring up your questions, your comments. She does a damn good job. The agenda is posted not only online, but in the newspaper. And there is a zoning area up around Georgetown Lake. And so there is a certain area that does have zoning. The Homeowners Association has information on their website. So if you're not sure, Linda is the one to talk to and or check her webpage on the county website. Thank you again, Linda.
Thanks.
And that is correct. We do have one zoning district up by the lake, but everything else in the county is unzoned at this point.
And those zoning regs are on, county
And they're on the
website.
website, yep.
Any other public comment? No, I guess we're done.
Thanks, Linda.
No, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
He's wanting to hear about something you're not busy.
So I knew that was a good call.
Yeah, it's the first time stuff. But just gonna, it's like going, we're paving all the way to.
It happens every time they'll pave like this back will be on the school field here, and then they posted it to 15 miles an hour. And people drive 15 on fast, so. Who's Sarah? Yeah, he lives out in the subdivision, but he's works, so there is control line.
No, it's just curious.
Yeah, and all of them know that there's some concerns about that. And maybe, but we've been getting a bunch of calls at Georgetown as well. And we go there, they're like locals and everybody tickets and hopefully that's slow to videos and.
Hey, Scott, we're gonna put up signs too.
Okay.
Speed limit signs and more delineators.
Controls that when he's on at least twice a day. So anyway.
How far that road's going, was that already been decided on or?
How far are you guys gonna lay millings out on East Fork, Chuck? Are you done?
No more millings or else.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good day.
They are looking in that, buying 2 more speed trailers, that'd be the road department handling that.
I hope so, because I'm not.
And they wanted to talk to you about, they're gonna move the speed bumps because they're getting vibrated off. And see if the speed trailer could be put up there for a while here this fall.
So the mayor and Drummond requested it and that's where it's at
Yeah, okay.
right now. And I don't have a problem taking it up there, but schools, when school's in session, I'm gonna keep it in school zones.
Right.
If these folks have concerns over kids getting hit. I guess
Yeah,
it's
dude.
over the kids.
This would be only until,
Yeah, when school starts in August and yeah, we'll go back.
Yeah, let me talk to the mayor and see if she feels like they got their use out of it. Cause she had some concerns over the front street down there.
I don't know.
The have put it in Georgetown is, I don't know what speed limit it's got on it.
Yeah, well, I put 25. Yeah, it's 25. Yeah.
But you see the.
Yeah, Paul's taking them down. He's got signs ordered or ordering them. The one thing, the deputies do a good job at Drummond patrolling Front Street. I've seen them there a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just talking to the folks at East Fork, Lucero, when he's working, he controls that twice a day, because he's gotta go down it, you know, back and forth.
I told him earlier that you're up there writing tickets and sending the
Yeah,
deputies out.
and I talked to a gentleman. from
Yeah,
Georgetown,
Lattimore.
And we're hitting, we're not differentiating between, it, and if you're going, we'll be right in.
Equal protection under the law.
Yep. Well, the ones I wrote up there on 4th of July were just 2 locals, so.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
and the rest are under a speed that we don't find that any. They're right. It's the first time that it is busy.
I'm guessing none of them argued with you.
Yeah. Who's a judge? I don't know where that's.
so they're gonna take the. Speed bumps down because of the liability they've got. So you think that's a good idea?
You get a motorcycle, hit one of those at a little bit of an angle, and they're gonna be wrecked.
Well,
Spike is big.
yeah, there's not enough asphalt right there.
I-
for super-
Wish I had all the answers to these. So some of those folks, I have, understand that concern. I get upset if somebody flies by my house by the school and they're on, they're upset.
Yeah.
But there again, I told this gentleman, and you kind of, I could be wrong, but at least every weekend, there's something, I don't know what more to get.
Yeah.
And Icona doesn't have. They used to.
Maybe when they go by, they just need to turn on the sirens when they go by, so they know they're there. That's
Well,
I'll sit up
they're
there.
there, and if somebody doesn't see us, they don't think we're there.
Yeah.
We've been there every weekend this summer.
No, thanks.
And there's we got some rookies. Sometimes when you first start in this field, that's really your only specialty you're good at is traffic and your patrol deputy. And some of them are doing it very, very well. So, and I'm glad they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's needed.
So
Yep.
you ask for us and you will receive it.
I'll prosecute them too. They plead not guilty. I'll prosecute them.
I think that too is that we decided that we would get a couple machines
Look into the other 10,000 range.
for the road crew.
$5,000 a piece.
The ones I found online were like 10 to 12 to 17. Do you have where'd you get yours?
They're no longer in business. U2, I think it was.
Oh, they're not.
Oh, there is a place in Butte, I think, that was selling them.
Okay.
Those are effective. They definitely, you know, if you got to set up in an area where people that don't realize what they're doing, you see the lights and they're like, oh, boy, they're slow down. They are effective. And you know, the problem is last time I picked it up at the lake, then I had homeowners call, we didn't put it in front of our house.
Yeah,
Why can't put it in front of everybody's.
Yeah, they all here too.
Yeah, well, having 2 of them would
I'm
help.
gonna try to set that at a location where I feel it does the good for the most amount of people in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Might not necessarily, I did end up putting it in front of, you know, one of the squeaky wheels in there to try to help. I understand their concerns. The last thing we see is a kid get hit. I'm totally with you on it. The reality is, we can't be everywhere at once.
Right. So in this instance, we're checking out for the road. Is that okay with you?
That's fine. Blanche has some place.
Right, and the road crew should be moving.
Yeah, they could coordinate with you,
Yeah.
but they would be the ones.
Is that, can they do that? Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was just.
Well, that's what Montana Department of Transportation does on a statewide level.
Yeah,
So,
Paul's
yeah,
just
road
in
crew
the
does.
space. It's my name. And it, you know, I'll talk to the, like I say, I'll talk to the mayor and see if we can pull that one out of Drummond for a while, but as soon as school gets out.
only because of what's going on at the lake. Kind of,
Well, there's, you know, I was up there 4th of July and those folks have a legitimate concern out there. There was, that's sort of right great though, and there was people on the road, there was side by sides, kids on, there was just, it was like an house up there. You know, there's basically some of that. Yeah, I think a couple more signs, is a good idea. I'm just saying, 3 of them. So, and there, you run into problems with those. Ours quit working for a while. We had to send it in and get it fixed. You're gonna have one person busy just taking care of radar signs.
Yeah,
That's like.
yeah. Yeah, they
I
don't
know
last
years-
forever.
This has been years ago. This, I don't think any of the commissioners here were sitting here. They bought the data machine for that radar trailer. I said, you guys can buy it if you want, but I don't have time to hook laptop up to and extract that data.
yeah,
It's still set in my,
yeah.
wasted the money, in my opinion. Rock Creek has it where they can gain the data and that, last time I talked to Dan, something happened and they can't get it now. And you're gonna get a fleet of machines that you're gonna need a tech to help take care of. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
Everybody, if we can slow everybody down, but I'll deploy my spike strips up there and I'll slow them down. I don't need it.
Well, probably looking to see what the best, the brand that has the least amount of problems getting the best
Yeah.
rated one.
Well, the more,
would be good.
that's kind of my point,
Yeah.
is the more technology you have to, and the more problems you have.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you got a paperweight setting in there.
What about the posts, though, like you were talking about with the solar
Yeah,
things?
well, Paul's issue, then you can't move them around. If-
Yeah.
But there is one 3,500.
Areas, I think that those are good.
Yeah,
Like in Hall, for example, those would be nice.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
highway ones are very, very
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Up around Georgetown in the summer, they justified it, probably. It was very busy there. Out
They're-
of Eastport. How are you gonna go with it?
they're on the
It's kinda-
3,500 range, the ones that on a solar one that's on a.
It's kind of like the speed bumps. Once you do one.
Yeah.
You know, you could have the ones up the lake during summer and then moving down the Eastport,
Well,
you know,
I don't know what the ones on the post might be considerably cheaper. I.
Yeah, they're 3,500, but they're not movable.
And they're stuck right. with
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah.
I wonder about vandalism, but someone could vandalize a trailer too.
So far, we've been lucky with that.
Yeah,
It hasn't been vandalized. I try to put it by a home or at least somebody's there watching. Yeah. I'll try to get it moved out of Drummond, but I am talking to Gil about that deal.
Yeah.
Because Drummond pitched good money towards that trailer as well, and they haven't been getting it as much. So. It's been here for quite a few weeks now, that's said too, so. I can have on to it.
Great.
do we have to put that in the minutes?
Don't put everything.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I don't.
talk with the sheriff about his
So,
the sheriff's for public safety.
Yeah. because it was after the fact. And it wasn't on the
Well,
agenda item
there's-
or between the
Well, I
agenda
didn't know
items.
there's people coming in today to talk about speeding concerns in Georgetown.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. And I encouraged the guy, you know, you will meet with commissioners anytime. You're welcome to walk in my office or call me
yeah.
with these concerns and you can just sit them down. It's all simple. We're getting some trained up now, so. We're in a little bit better waters than we were at the beginning of the summer, so.
Good.
Did you have something, Mary?
I did, actually, I can give this to you really quickly, folks who are involved. Scott Adler asked me directly twice, last time whenever we met, what my employment situation was. And first few times that we met, I guess, this is Chair Adler. And I didn't answer that question because I didn't want to tell the entire town that I'm on a disability. And
You're on-
Oh,
You're
here, stop. We can close this for a personnel matter.
I just see the.
Okay, we're back on for a work session on budget, preliminary budget. Discussion.
I'm taking off, thanks.
Thanks.
Don't forget about the
So
budgeting for
it's
trailers.
just the road fund. I have the road fund, what do you have countywide?
Oh, did I? Maybe that's why I had so many copies.
So,
Maybe there
no,
was-
that's okay, let's just, I think, let me go get last year's.
Hold on, let me bring what I have, maybe. I just. My brain.
Yeah, don't worry about printing, I've never come in there.
Blanche was wrong. Oh, good.
It was fun. It was very hot and humid. We went through the Badlands though, and it was not, it was rainy that day. It didn't start raining until we left, but it was cloudy, so it was humid, but it wasn't like boiling hot to go through the Badlands. But of course, there were no animals. It was hot. But it was cool. I didn't see any rattlesnakes.
Oh, deadly.
So we did, my son really wanted to go through Deadwood, so on our way back up north, because then we went to Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And we went through Deadwood, but it's Sturgis week.
No.
Oh my God, there were bikes everywhere. So that was kind of cool, because there's just so many bikes everywhere you go, you know.
That place is crowded anytime.
Oh my God, yeah, it started on the 4th and we were passing through Deadwood on the 4th, so there was just like bikes.
So. What will happen? Just a second, let me.
Get rain out at your place.
So the other night, I'm thinking it's the night they were talking about when they got hail. I was looking out the window and it was just black out that way, just black. And I was waiting for it to hit my house and it blew over. It looked like it maybe hit rain at the Ranch Rock Creek and we got some wind and rain, but it did not hit us. It passed us. It flew this way. We've been getting rain, but the huge storms, it missed us. It blew this way. I was all excited though. I was like, this is gonna be like a power outage kind of a storm, because we have a hot spot out there when we usually get big lightning storms.
Really?
Yeah, we, after my grandfather passed, we didn't have a grounding rod apparently in the ground in the right spot, and we had lost all of our electronics like 4 times because lightning kept hitting the house and it would just zap everything.
Really?
Yeah, Northwestern Energy had to come out and put grounding rods in. Like they get crazy out there with the cliffs and everything like echoes off and rolls.
I like that.
So fun.
Yeah.
But I'm a big one.
Are we
On.
on? Okay. The Department of Revenue certified our taxable valuation, and for like countywide levies, the total taxable value last year was 15,000 or 15,524,283. So this year, it's 21,810,734. So it went up 6, well, subtracting 21,810,734 from 15,524,283 is what it went up. When you do your the spreadsheet, and this is for an example, countywide funds. Last year, we calculated our mill levy for the countywide funds at 131.48. This year, the calculation will be 99.32. So this is what I explained before, when the mill levy, when the certified value goes up, your mills go down because you use the same amount of cash as last year. So this year we won't need the 131, we'll use 99 for countywide funds. And that's just an example because of the certified taxable values. And then what'll happen is like last year, we set the levies. And this was the levy set. What'll happen is that Sarah will go through all the funds and figure out what each fund needs for mills, and then we have 30 days to set those. As far as she's not here, she's.
Did you want something when you were?
No, I just
Oh,
came in
okay.
and grabbed this and I grabbed this so that I could explain last year's and this year's.
Okay, perfect.
But thank you, my dear.
You're very welcome.
So that's all we can do. We can't really do anything else. Except for possibly, we're gonna look into. When we look at the budgets for what we need to take out of, for like gravel and. Other stuff that we need to decide on. And that's during the whole workforce, the work budget, we can maybe pull the road in and start looking at what. And Paul's supposed to send in. Or say how much more he needs for gravel and stuff, so we need to put that.
You know, if we put a lot of gravel down the way it is now, it costs a lot of hauling.
We need way more gravel, right?
Well, it's gonna cost a lot to spread it, because they're gonna wait the
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah, I know, I realize that. The whole initial point is we're gonna have to. Throw that into the road budget. And then like those two bridges that need. The Black Pine one is supposed to be really bad shape.
Who said?
Hmm?
Who said that?
Who said that? My son said that.
Hmm.
He went and looked at it. And it's really in bad shape and then was gonna look underneath it.
Hmm.
And to see if. I've rotted away the boards and stuff. I mean, that's. And he's just a layman. He doesn't, he just said it goes like this and it needs the top put on it. He was just saying that to me, and so I'm just saying that maybe we need to look at that. And I wouldn't know what to look at. Have you been up Black Pine Road
No,
lately?
it's your area.
Hmm?
It's your area.
I know. Would you? I mean, I go look at it.
Yeah, I'll stop by.
If someone can
Stop by.
explain to me, just, he said because they're patching holes and. Was in really rough shape and trying to get it where it's not. Have you been up the Black Pine Road at
I
all?
haven't gone up Black Pine Road for a couple years. I haven't been up there for a couple years.
So
So. What do we do now? Adjourn?
well, there isn't anything we can really discuss until Sarah gets back. She's gonna be gone and she'll present us with the budget worksheets, and she was gonna she'll put them on the website or wherever she puts them in her stuff so that people can look at them and we can go from there. So we have it set when we're gonna set the budgets. So she's got that. I don't know if she gave you a copy of the.
She did. She had me schedule them on your agendas for your date.
So I'm gonna suggest on the road. That we get put $100,000 for 2 belly dumps.
Hey, you can suggest that. So why do we need more belly dumps?
For the county. if we don't get the money in some future years. That the county can go ahead and spread gravel, keep working. And because the county might not have the money to contract out trucking. That's why I'm.
Okay, okay. Well, it's kind of hard. Working with just the two of us. I think. We can set levies. By the date. That they're supposed to be set. And work from there where we have to anticipate revenue coming from. To supplement the various funds that are gonna need. Revenue, so. I don't know, I guess when. Sarah gets back. We'll tell her to throw that, take the road out, discuss the road and say where we need, what we want more for the road. So what you're saying is that the belly dumps is gonna keep it from contracting out, laying
Yeah,
gravel.
say 2 years from now, the budget was bad and we weren't getting built or whatever, or all that extra money. Well, they could still go out there and do work, the county crew. All we gotta do is hook onto these belly dump. With a regular dump truck, I mean, it's just. They don't haul enough. So we have belly dumps, we could get something
So
done.
I thought we had belly dumps, don't we have belly
Well,
dumps?
they're all worn out. And we kept getting complaints, the. Material was coming out the back, hitting cars and stuff when they're going down the highway,
So we're not using those.
so we're not using them.
No, I hear you.
Well, guess we can adjourn.
Okay.
So
Did you
we're
make a
adjourned.
motion to adjourn? I'll second it.
We're adjourned.